2 on NBC.
Here on the first Saturday of this new year, we invite you to come on down the Riverwalk and inside the Alamo Dome, where America's best high school football players meet the U.S. Army, literally at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Inside the locker room, you'll find the highest-rated high school quarterback in the nation, Trevor Lawrence, just days before he enrolls at Clemson. They play some defense in Death Valley, too. The #1 defensive player, Xavier Thomas, will join him there and also play here today. Amon-Ra St. Brown won't stay uncommitted for too much longer. His live declaration, a big part of today's showcase. The U.S. Army All-American Bowl, an annual tradition for the nation's top-ranked high school football recruits. It's helped springboard the careers of many NFL stars, like Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, Andrew Luck, Christian McCaffrey, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, and Odell Beckham Jr.
Absolutely impossible what he just did.
As well as potential #1 overall pick, Sam Darnold. And Monday's national championship will be another showcase for this game's legacy. It will feature 34 U.S. Army All-Americans, including Georgia starting quarterback Jake Fromm, who started here just 1 year ago. Now a new class of America's best step onto the field to display their talent. They hail from all over the country and have come together to hone their skill and make their name a household one.
You ain't know me yesterday, but you know today.
Grab your popcorn. You already know what time it is.
This is my time, God. My time. This is the U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
Each one ready to step into the spotlight at the next level. And a select group will declare their college intention today.
Don't touch that remote. Been waiting my whole life for this, baby.
It's finally here.
Today, I make my college declaration live on NBC.
You don't want to miss it.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit.
I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough.
My name is Luke Matthews.
Trevor Lawrence. Christophany David Money. And I am
a U.S. Army All-American.
Inclement weather in many parts of the United States. Good day to come on inside, get comfortable on that couch. Watch the very best high school football has to offer. It's East versus West inside the Alamo Dome. And thank you for being with us. We are excited to kickstart what's going to be an incredible football viewing weekend. Think about it this way. The NFL playoffs begin today. The college football season ends on Monday. And for the next 3 hours on the field behind us, you'll get a little introduction to the stars you'll see on future Saturdays. And in some cases, some players that'll end up playing on Sundays. As is always the case, the signature portion of this game, a handful of players have decided to not sign last month in the early signing period in December. They didn't want to make a social media production of it, so they're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Live network TV, they'll let us know their intentions for their college football and also academic future. Looking forward to the company throughout this broadcast, Ross Tucker and Anthony Herron. And Ross, there's a very good reason that the lead up to this game felt a lot different than years past.
Yeah, for the first time, there was an early signing period in late December. So 75% of these guys have already committed. The funny thing is, all that's really done is increase the intensity of the peer pressure on the guys that haven't picked a school yet.
What I find so impressive about it is that this is still, even with the early signing period, the deepest class we've seen in our time calling the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. 6 of the top 7 players in the country are here. 39 of the top 50 came to San Antonio to compete against the best ball.
You mentioned 6 of the top 7, so let's begin at the very top. The #1 player, the top quarterback in the nation, Trevor Lawrence, on his way to Clemson. The first thing you ought to know about him is senior year, 41 touchdowns, only 1 interception.
Yeah, and Paul, he's not just the #1 quarterback this year. He's the best quarterback in about 10 years. He really can do it all. He's 6'6", but has excellent pocket presence, obviously a laser for him. I mean, look at that right there on the slant. But he can also make all the other throws. Watch, little pump and go, touch pass on the out and go, absolutely perfect. Meanwhile, his future Clemson teammate on the other side of the ball, Xavier Thomas, has been the most impressive defensive player this week. He already looks like a future NFL defensive end. He has been relentless.
Our Marty Snyder has both future Tigers.
Yeah, you think Dabo Swinney's excited for these guys to get to campus in Clemson? They'll be there tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Trevor, let's start with you. The #1 player in the country, you get invited to a lot of all-star games. What's the prestige of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl?
I think this is really the only all-star game that really has a meaning behind it. So you get to play for the Army, and I represent them. I think that's awesome that we get a chance to do that.
Xavier, let's talk with you. Both going to Clemson, as we've mentioned. How much bonding between teammates is going on, and how much recruiting is going on to get other guys to become Tigers?
Well, there's a lot of bonding going on because we do a lot of off-field activities. For example, we went bowling with the kids with autism. And there's just a lot of bonding activities that we got going on. And we also throw in a little recruiting pitches in so they can come to Clemson.
Clemson got 4 #1 players from their state. That's the offensive and defensive future of the Tigers right there, Paul.
And Marty, thank you very much. Let's go to the West and the offensive future of USC at quarterback. Unique story for JT Daniels. He started this past season as a junior, class of 2019. Beginning of that year, thought, I played enough high school football. If I accelerate the academic load in the spring, I can be a senior. Well, here he is as a senior, getting ready to go to USC.
Along with that accelerated load, an accelerated skill set. He was already the Gatorade Player of the Year in the entire country. He was the #1 player for 2019 before he reclassified. You see the skills here. Not necessarily a runner, but mobile enough to get outside the pocket, and he can spot throw the football. That, to me, is the part of the JT Daniels game that's beyond his years. And, of course, he's got that hand cannon attached to his right arm. He can gun it downtown to his high school teammate, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's hoping that this player will also become a collegiate teammate of his as well.
Amon-Ra standing by with our Lewis Johnson.
And, boy, we are looking forward to this declaration later on today. Not right now. Amon-Ra, you said you came here to compete and show everybody what you could do. What has the week been like, and what are you hoping to show today on TV?
It's been a long week. I'm excited to get it going. But I come out here to compete with the top guys. It's a lot of fun, you know, to go against the top guys, especially with pads on, because usually you go to camps, you don't have pads on. So this is the first time to go against the top guys with pads on. But no, it was a fun experience. Adidas put on a great show for us, and it was a lot of fun.
You come from a very unique family. Your dad is a former Mr. Olympia. Your mom is from Germany. What has this cultural experience been like, and how has it helped you through the game of football and help you make this big decision as you move on later today?
I mean, my dad is the reason why I'm here today. I give him all the credit. He's pushed me. He works me out. He does everything. But growing up in a different environment with my family, it really helped me throughout, I think, this whole thing, because I've seen a lot of things. I traveled the world, so I think it really helped me out.
Good luck today. Look forward to the declaration later. Thank you. All right, Paul.
His decision could impact the top 10 recruiting class. For more on that, let's go to 24/7's Director of Scouting, Barton Simmons.
That's right, Paul. You know, when you look at the top 10, according to 24/7 Sports right now, may not be a lot of movement. USC's the one team that could slide in there with the right kind of day on the commitment trail. But everybody right now is chasing the University of Georgia. Alabama's had 7 straight #1 recruiting classes, but Georgia really killed it in the early signing period. 7 commitments, 3 of them 5-star players. They're setting the pace heading towards February.
I see Penn State sitting there at 4. Big jump up for them, and a big reason. Front 7-star, they're going to move around at linebacker. Number 23, Micah Parsons, has a personality to match his talent. Big part of our fun here in San Antonio this week.
Micah Parsons.
So put the hat on after, so you can say, you're put the hat on again, we say.
Okay.
Colin McMichael, I'm a quarterback. I'm committed to Clemson University. Hey, Justin, you gotta go. Chill out.
Before we take a look at the East offense here, first, some notable offensive alumni from this game into the NFL. Andrew Luck, first overall pick. Will Sam Darnold follow in those footsteps? Some of the best running backs, both from right here in the state of Texas. And LaShawn McCoy. How about the season he and the Buffalo Bills had? Derrick Henry. Titans looking forward to the playoffs. Zeke Elliott home for the playoffs this year. Nick Chubb going to be a busy man on Monday. Christian McCaffrey will be a part of the Panthers' playoff plans. Odell Beckham Jr. played here on this field in the Alamo Dome before moving on and ended up with the New York Giants. Paul Burmeister, Anthony Herron, Ross Tucker, Marty Snyder, and Lewis Johnson on the sideline, and the very best high school football players on the field for the 18th annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Just saw number 4 there, James Cook. You know the name Dalvin Cook. Well, from the same family. James back deep to return, and he is not going to get a chance to bring that one back. We'll take a look at the rules for the All-American Bowl. Only 12-minute quarters. Defense awfully limited what they can do. You see what the defense plays here from a scheme standpoint. And the onside kick allowed only in the second half.
That 4-3 defensive alignment, it does have some of the really versatile talent in this game playing slightly different positions than they may have in their high school schemes, but that versatile talent will be on display at the collegiate level.
And I like it because I like the chance to actually see these guys go one-on-one. You don't want it to be about scheme. You don't want it to be about blitzes. And the East electing to have them re-kick, you know, sometimes you feel like you have an advantage on special teams in an all-star game like this. Most of these guys didn't play special teams, so I think maybe the East coach thinks he's got a good chance to go ahead and return one of these for a long way.
And the return man pointed to number 4, James Cook, out of Miami, on his way to play at Georgia, and here he is with the ball. Little acceleration out past the 35-yard line. And big number 16, the number 1 rated player in this game, as we pointed out top of the broadcast, Trevor Lawrence, committed to Clemson December of 2016, held true to that commitment, and will end up there at the beginning of next week.
His numbers throughout high school are just ridiculous. We talked about it a few minutes ago, Paul. He had an interception in the first game this season, then didn't have another one the entire year. 41 consecutive touchdown passes without interception.
It's impossible.
33.
As you can hear, the quarterbacks are mic'd up.
Let's go.
Take a listen to them throughout the afternoon. Lawrence keeps it himself, keeps his feet, and gets just enough for an East first down. We know about his arm. There's a little look at the mobility.
It's interesting, too, because he can run, but that's not a big part of his game in high school in Cartersville. But you know Clemson likes their quarterbacks to be able to do this, tuck it away, and run a little bit. I think the East coaching staff, led by Chad Greer, he's trying to slow down that West pass rush with a quarterback draw on first down.
Like what he said about Clemson and Dabo Swinney. He said it was just a culture that I wanted to be a part of. Looking deep down the sideline. And has that one intercepted. This is Jaden Woodby, defensive back on his way to Florida State. And inside of East Territory.
So I guess that's 2 interceptions for Trevor Lawrence this year. I think we just jinxed him.
They do have a penalty marker there. We'll check in with the flag. The first pass of the game, Trevor Lawrence intercepted.
After the interception, blocking the back, number 15, 10-yard penalty from the spot on foul, first down.
So the interception stands by number 1, Jaden Woodby, again a future Seminole. And we saw the ball batted away by number 44. That's Brendan Radley-Hiles, uncommitted right now. Excellent play there. He'll announce his college intentions later in the day.
And you see the outstanding coverage ability and getting his eyes around to the football. I know his instincts from Radley-Hiles, one of the things Martin Simmons loves about him.
JT Daniels flings it outside. Has a completion right away to Brian Hightower. That's USC to Miami. First play for the West offense.
And guys, just going back to that pick by Radley-Hiles, who will announce his declaration later. You know, they compare him to Tyrann Mathieu from the Arizona Cardinals. That was a perfect example of that. It was a 2-hand tip back into the middle of the field, back towards his safety so he could pick it off. He just has unbelievable instincts.
Let's go.
Running back is Harold Joyner. Play fake to Joyner. And Daniels misfires on the quick slant. Intended receiver number 17 there. Jalen Waddle remains uncommitted. With 7 years of doing this game, JT Daniels' story really provides a first, guys. Technically should be a junior, but as we laid it out a few moments ago, said he played enough high school football, started 45 varsity games, and thought of a way to accelerate his spring academic schedule. Going to take 10 or 11 classes this spring, which is amazing, and then enroll at USC during the summer.
Ready, set, go.
Plenty of room to keep it on the outside. That's a West first down. And he had an interesting response to one of the major stories of the week, Sam Darnold announcing midweek on social media that he was coming out. He said, you know what, it didn't have that big effect on me. And the reason is he's not going to be there for the spring competition, won't be there for spring football. And all these quarterbacks that go onto campus and start early, they're the ones who have a chance to play in the fall. It's hard to picture him jumping in fall camp and winning the job.
And there's quarterbacks on USC's roster who's been backing up Sam Darnold for multiple years now. Jack Sears, Matt Fink. But you know when JT Daniels shows up, he'll feel ready.
Nice pocket to throw from there. And you can't throw it any better than that. Wow. Jalen Waddle pulls that one in, hit him right in stride.
I mentioned spot throws. We talked about this in the open. There's a calm about JT Daniels that just emanates from him when he's on the field of play. The ability to throw with accuracy. And it's not like Jalen Waddle's a player who he's worked with very often, but clean pocket, excellent protection, steps right into it, hits Waddle in stride.
Guys, I'm going to make a bold statement here, but that's the best throw by a high school junior we've ever seen in this game.
I like it.
Going out on a limb there. Clever, Ross. And Jalen Waddle. Mentioned uncommitted. We believe it's between Alabama and Texas A&M. Lives 100 miles from College Station. To the end zone. And that one incomplete.
You got to know he's looking for his high school teammate when he gets down here. Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 8. Yeah, when your high school teammates, you get down in the red zone in an all-star game, they got to have something going on there.
Well, this is the part of the field that in their offense at Mater Dei, they work so much magic with those spot throws that I was mentioning from JT Daniels.
Amon-Ra will announce where he's going to go to school coming up here later in the game.
Here we go.
The top 2 rated defensive players in this game are on the East. Number 19 is Xavier Thomas. 23 is Micah Parsons. Throwing back across the grain. Dangerous throw by Daniels. Falls harmlessly incomplete. Could have been trouble.
Took a bit of a risk there with the throwback. Don't mind the play call. The defense was in proper position. As JT Daniels sees this, he's got a 6'2 receiver, and Brian Hightower he was trying to feed the football to. Well defended.
How impressive is it, by the way, that not only is he reclassifying from 2019 to 2018, but that he won the starting job for this game. You know, there's some other very talented quarterbacks, Matt Corral, as well as Tanner McKee.
And he's in trouble in the pocket, finds a way to get rid of it. Nice pursuit by the fronts of the East. And a nifty job of getting rid of it by JT Daniels.
Usually the defense has the edge in games like there. You see right there, J.J. Peterson. Watch number 45 come flying and deliver the blow right there. He'll declare later in the game. He is a very athletic linebacker out of Georgia that says his favorite player is Reuben Foster, who was a first-round pick of the Niners this past year.
Nesta Silvera was in the backfield as well, Ross. Defensive tackle, about a 310-pounder playing with a nasty edge.
This is Charles Campbell out of Jackson, Tennessee. Missing badly. The ball was tipped, blocked a little bit. The interception did not hurt the East side. Come on back to the Alamo Dome right after this for our first declaration.
Josh Jobe, DB, Alabama.
Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Clemson University.
Jalen Green, DB, Brooklyn.
JT Daniels, quarterback, University of Southern California.
George Sackett, tight end, Notre Dame.
Adam Anderson, defensive end, Go Dogs.
All right, listen up. Out on that field today, you will be ready for anything. And I want you to always remember, this is the greatest team you will ever.
Army All-American Bowl is brought to you by the U.S. Army. Find out more at GoArmy.com. By American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. And by Visit San Antonio. Plan your trip at visitsanantonio.com. And for some U.S. Army All-Americans, putting on the Army colors has a deeper meaning. For Oregon lineman Draco Bynum, playing in this game is a way to honor his grandfather's Army service and all those who served since.
When I received my jersey, I was so emotional. Just being able to represent my city, my school, my country in this game. My family really has a long lineage in the Army. Both my grandfather and my great-grandfather were in the Army. It's such an honor to wear the name Army across my chest. These soldiers, they wake up every day, they protect their country, put their life on the line, and so playing in this game for me is another opportunity to say thank you to them and all the other servicemen and women.
Great story for Draco Bynum. Means a lot for him to be playing inside the Alamo Dome here. Paul Burmeister, Anthony Herron, and Ross Tucker on the field. Lewis Johnson, Marty Snyder, and under center, Trevor Lawrence. We talked about the fact he threw only one interception his senior season. Threw a pick on his first effort of the game. He's back for his second series. And there's a completion out across the 25, across the 30. And that'll be first down for the East. Jordan Adams with the reception.
Yeah, you talk to a lot of the coaches around college football, and they are just blown away by Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's been called the perfect quarterback prospect. I know talking with Barton and some of the other folks from 24/7 Sports, he is the highest rated quarterback they've ever had. So we've had some great quarterbacks here, but this one's probably the best.
Isaac Gibbs or Ricky Person dropped just as he crossed the 40-yard line. Barton Simmons is the one, he said, the highest rated quarterback we've ever had is Lawrence. Tell us a little more.
Yeah, Paul, I mean, if you look on paper, it doesn't get much better. He's 51-3 as a starter. He's been starting since his freshman year. 3,000 yards every season. He's almost impeccable from that standpoint, but he's also got the size, he's got the ability, and you know, Ross alluded to it before the game. You watch the way he throws it. He's 6'6". He delivers the ball like he's 6'1". You know, he's just got some special traits both on the field and off.
And to top it all off, Paul, he's got great hair. I mean, great hair. Look at that.
Depends on how you look at him. Take a look. He broke all of Deshaun Watson's record in high school, throwing for over 13,000 yards, 161 passing touchdowns. And he's also shown something a lot of these quarterbacks we've seen recently in this game, not afraid of walking into a lot of competition. Top quarterback in last year's game, Hunter Johnson, just one class ahead of him at Clemson.
22. Let's go.
Steps up, already kept it for one first down. Out near another first, right at the midfield stripe. Looks like he'll have just enough for a first down.
And what I enjoyed in talking to Trevor Lawrence is that so many people want to compare him to Deshaun Watson. He's bigger than Watson ever would think of being at 6'6" and already 210 pounds. Very mobile, but he doesn't necessarily shy away from it. He does say, though, I'm a different quarterback. I'm a different person. I don't necessarily need that comparison to fuel me.
33. Let's go.
Couple of wideouts to his left, two to his right, comes back to his left side. That's his second interception of the game. On two possessions, has thrown more INTs today than he did his entire senior season.
You see the look on his face right there. A nice job by Caden Stearns to pick that off, but Lawrence just not on the same page with his receiver right there.
Caden Stearns, defensive back on his way to Texas. Talented defensive back class on their way to Austin. Stearns gets his day started off right. Little sigh from Trevor Lawrence.
In the country, one of America's #1 quarterbacks, JT Daniels, and one of the best playmaking wide receivers in the country, Amon-Ra St. Brown. JT, you guys have worked this back shoulder throw to perfection in the red zone. What's the target area you're trying to hit? What are you looking for?
So as long as the defender's even or ahead of Amon, I'm just putting it on his right shoulder.
You make it sound so easy. Let's show it to him then. You get in position. We'll go on your set, go. I will see what I can do with Mr. St. Brown over here in coverage.
So go.
Oh, you gonna do that to me?
They call Amon-Ra St. Brown. The name actually means Egyptian sun god. And JT Daniels, they played together in youth football and at the high school level. We got quite a connection.
And we have a new quarterback for the West team. On his way to Ole Miss, Matt Corral, and an interesting 2017 for him. Decommitted from USC in June, left Oaks Christian High School, went to Long Beach Poly, committed to Florida, decommitted to Florida, and signed with Ole Miss, citing how much he liked new head coach Matt Luke.
Well, he told us Matt Luke came out to California, met with his brother, met with his best friend, said that really meant a lot to him.
And we see the arm strength there and a great catch. And some speed afterward. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown. He'll announce his intention here a little bit later in the game.
Well, Matt Corral he's one of these players that has a great feel for the game. He reminds me of Shea Patterson, who was here in the Army Bowl a couple of years back and started as a true freshman. It's not like he's worked with Amon-Ra St. Brown as JT Daniels did, but right there in the spot, threw it back shoulder, and St. Brown went to work after that.
They say Corral might have the strongest arm in the country, and that one was an absolute laser.
Brendan Brady, late ad this week on his way to Rice, is the running back. Again to the air and to the end zone. A nice throw and even better coverage from Kyler McMichael, one of the players here who will play his college football at Clemson.
Paul, that's one of the things that's jumped out to me the most here is just the size of the cornerbacks. I mean, look at that kid. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds, pretty much all of the corners. Patrick Surtain Jr., guys like Josh Jobe, Tyson Campbell, they're all above 6 feet tall. They're all around 200 pounds. I mean, that is what an NFL cornerback looks like, and that's what these high school kids in this game look like these days.
He's one of 4 East defenders on their way to Clemson. Goes back to his left, and he was hit just as he tried to get rid of the ball. That's ruled an incompletion. Corral had a hard time keeping his feet, and as soon as he came up, he got drilled.
It's actually been a decent job of pass protection so far by the West. Usually the defense has the clear advantage because these offensive linemen aren't used to pass blocking edge rushers like that. Eventually, Justin Maskell was able to get to Corral.
Maskell, one of those 3 other defenders besides McMichael who will play at Clemson. Once again, it's play action and nowhere near his intended receiver, Brian Hightower.
That's an example where you see the timing just from kind of a brief week of practice. They were trying to execute the tunnel screen, one receiver on the inside coming out to block, outside receiver coming in to receive. But when your defense is in that press position, like we've seen from the East so far, it can be difficult to execute that timing.
And Charles Campbell going to get a chance right away to redeem himself after his first one missed. Pulled it to the left, was also tipped at the line. And this one from 32 yards out. And Campbell sneaks that one just inside the left upright. So we have 3 points to go along with a couple of interceptions already thrown. J.J. Peterson will be our first declaration. Will he stay home in Georgia, or will it be Alabama or Tennessee?
J.J. Peterson, outside linebacker, Marshall, Georgia. Which one is it going to be? Right here, live on NBC.
County High School in Georgia, ready to tell us what's next. Here's Marty Snyder.
And Paul, JJ is the number 6 ranked linebacker in the country, and his grandmother Lucille is here. Grandfather Leo is here as well, and lots of friends and family here too to tell us where he's going to go to school. We know it's going to be the SEC. Is it going to be Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama? JJ, where's it going to be?
It's going to be Tennessee Vols.
Tennessee, what a big pickup for Jeremy Pruitt. 1 month. Why Tennessee at the end of the day?
Just my home. Yes, sir.
The pass. Some talent to Knoxville.
Got a lot of game, going to bring everything. He told us, just give me a chance. I'll play inside or outside. We can't wait to get there.
J.J. Peterson is about that action, no doubt about it.
Well, he already has a big hit on the quarterback in this game. He told us he's got 2 of his teammates from his high school already go to the University of Tennessee, and that clearly, when we spoke with him on Thursday, had a big impact on his decision. That and Jeremy Pruitt going to Tennessee.
James Cook, running back out of Miami, who will play at Georgia, has the ball. Brought down just as he got to the 30 for more on J.J. Peterson's decision to go to Tennessee. Here's Barton Simmons.
Well, Paul, I think, he said it best. He's not about a lot of talk. He's about action. And that's really what Jeremy Pruitt is as well, and what he's trying to bring to Tennessee, some accountability, some toughness. And this is a kid that I think brings that to the locker room. I talked to him about, why are you making this decision at this point in the process? You know what he said? He said, I'm tired of people calling during my workouts. They're disturbing my weightlifting. That's the kind of attitude that Jeremy Pruitt has to bring. And by the way, this kid's coach, Russ Probst, who Jeremy Pruitt coached under in high school at Hoover High School before he hit the college ranks.
And Barton, hang in there for just 1 second here. New quarterback is Jaron Williams. And coming back at you on Tennessee, a lot of turnover. Always talking about that this time of year. 12 coaches leaving of the Power 5 conference schools. What kind of influence is Jeremy Pruitt having so far?
I'd say he's had the biggest influence of any of the new coaches. 56 in the country in the 24/7 Sports recruiting rankings when Jeremy Pruitt took over. That was their low point. Now they're up to 16th. He's done an outstanding job really bringing in talent, winning some big recruiting battles.
Hey,
and again, I think this one, getting a guy out of South Georgia who Alabama also wanted, says a lot about what he's going to bring to the table.
All right, Barton, thank you very much. Around the right side there, that's Rondale Moore. He'll announce his declaration a little bit later today.
You watch J.J. Peterson's high school highlight video, and it is so impressive. I mean, he can play outside linebacker or inside linebacker. You'll see the big hit on J.T. Daniels there. He's already been flying around. But you watch his highlight video, he returns kickoffs and punts for touchdowns. Like, that's the kind of athlete he is. And you see him out there. He loves to fly around. Look, if you tell me that your favorite player is Reuben Foster, that's all I need to know. That guy is a heat-seeking missile, and Peterson wants to be just like him.
I mentioned the new quarterback, number 12, is Jaron Williams. Plays college football. Miami stepping up, moving out to his left. Little mobility as he looks for that first down across the 50-yard line. And a back-and-forth dramatic recruiting process for Williams. Started with Kentucky. They were the first ones, he said, to take him in and treat him like part of the family. We watch him with his wheels here around the left side. So he was offered there his sophomore season. He committed and then decommitted 2 different times. Turning point in his process, in November, Mark Richt called, said he wanted to come visit. By the way, this was just after he threw 7 touchdown passes last game of his senior year. And that visit happened to be for Miami's home game against Notre Dame. He said he couldn't ignore the environment, wanted to be a part of it. Got to the airport on Sunday, called Mark Stoops and apologized, but said, I'm going to be a Miami Hurricane.
Safe to assume no coincidence. After the 7 TD game, he heard from Coach Richt again.
Maybe a little bit.
And how about just the fact so many of these quarterbacks are from Georgia? I mean, Jaron Williams is from Georgia. Trevor Lawrence is from Georgia. Certainly Justin Fields, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the country, he's actually going to Georgia. But the high school quarterbacks in the state of Georgia this year, it's insane.
Yeah, 4th down and 1. There we see on the sideline Trevor Lawrence. His day off to a tough start. A couple of interceptions. He cheers on the offense now, led by Jaron Williams.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. 33. Now, let's go.
And Williams with the inside give to James Cook. Out of Miami, on his way to Athens to play for the Bulldogs, has a first down.
And Ross, you mentioned all the quarterback talent out of the state of Georgia, of course, on this field last year. Jake Fromm, starting the national championship game as a true freshman. Ended up beating out Jacob Eason, who was here the year before that as the #1 quarterback in the country. So the state of Georgia, the University of Georgia, it's becoming a quarterback hotbed.
Yeah, it doesn't really surprise me at all based on how Jake Fromm handled himself here last year. I mean, he was the leader and the captain of the East from day one. He's just that type of kid.
An amazing Jake Fromm playing right here just a year ago. Monday night, lead his team looking for a national championship against Alabama. Williams keeps it, and he's brought down at the 41-yard line.
Second by 97.
Counting down to the end of the first quarter, as you can see, a lot of defense and some turnovers. 2 interceptions provided by the West team to go along with 1 field goal. We head to the second, 3-0. 1 declaration in the books. It was a good one for Jeremy Pruitt and the Tennessee Volunteers. J.J. Peterson puts on the orange, and we're back inside the Alamo Dome for more scenes just like that coming up.
My family moved to Colorado so that I could ski race.
The U.S. Army All-American Bowl has been around for nearly 2 decades. It started back in 2000. Today's version is the 18th. Each year, it produces NFL draft picks and first-rounders like Christian McCaffrey to Carolina last year and Sam Darnold this coming spring. Heisman Trophy winners played here. Derrick Henry claimed the prize in 2015. For more on this event, here's Chairman and CEO of All-American Games, Doug Berman.
The All-American Bowl is the premier high school sporting event in the nation. It celebrates the uniting spirit that Friday Night Lights means in communities all across America. A testament to this program is that over 60 All-Americans played in last weekend's college football playoff games, and nearly 40 band alumni are or are soon to be officers in the United States Army. In its 18th year, our event is stronger than ever, and as always, we are proud to be working with our title sponsor, the U.S. Army.
There's so many different ways to highlight the kind of talent we see every January here in San Antonio. But guys, I think the most recent one, Monday night, Alabama and Georgia, 34 of their players played right here.
It's unbelievable.
Jaron Williams stepping up in the pocket, and he goes down. Williams sacked by Aiden Hutchinson, who will play his college football at Michigan. Here's what's coming up on Monday nights. Georgia on the left, Alabama on the right. And the alumni of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, led by Jake Fromm. Again, just 1 year ago, he was playing in this game.
Looking the QB depth. See Nick Chubb and Sony Michel. Both the duo at running back, but then also DeAndre Swift, who's really burst onto the scene with them for a 3-headed monster in the backfield.
Hey, got a look at him last year out of the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I remember DeAndre Swift and Jake Fromm saying we want to be the class that gets Georgia over the hump. And they've kind of done that right away, year 1.
Delay a game. Control for the offense. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
And we all saw Jake Fromm's maturity last year. We spent time meeting with him. I remember going down to the field and watching him just to watch the ball come out of their hands. His footwork and his balance of the 6 quarterbacks here last year I thought was the best. And we see that show up on Saturdays, and now we'll see if it shows up on Monday. Not just a mature kid, not just a kid who could throw. I thought he had excellent balance and footwork. Got a good glimpse of that last year. Incomplete from Jaron Williams.
You see quarterbacks at various stages of their development. Jaron Williams, while that pass was just slightly errant there, but he's a quarterback who's been challenged by different recruiters at different points throughout this cycle to take his physical skills and start to become more mechanically sound. He told us he loved the fact that he was challenged by some of those recruiters to continue to get better at the game.
Also told us a fun story when he was at Georgia camp, 10 years old. Mark Richt moved him up to throw with the older group led by Aaron Murray, who would graduate from Georgia eventually as the SEC's all-time leading passer.
Timeout. West.
Jaron Williams going to talk it over on the sideline. The East team looking for its first points. More football, more declarations coming up.
Kids walk in these doors with humongous
career. I was able to be part of an amazing run in USC football history. I was able to share the field with some of today's top NFL players who happen to be U.S. Army All-Americans. Because of that, I thought I knew what it meant to be on the team. But I really didn't understand until I joined the Army and became responsible for other soldiers. As a soldier mentor, I'm excited to be here and get to know the players and share my story and hopefully inspire the next generation of All-Americans.
Excellent representation, as you would expect here from the U.S. Army. A lot of great stories woven in. Those who have played here, those who come to the game every year. I know the players appreciate getting to know the other stars from around the country, and also throughout the years getting to know a little bit more about the U.S. military. And that'll be a touchback. And we are due for one more break before we see the West offense come out again. Second quarter, U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Come on back with us.
Ron Vincent, I play defensive tackle. Long toe guy, defensive tackle. Dallas Gap, linebacker. Max Sweat, offensive tackle. Terry Johnson, defensive back. Jalen Gill, running back. Jeremy Ruckert, tight end. The Ohio State University. Go Bucks! Brian Hightower, wide receiver. J Dub, I play quarterback. Mark Pope, I play receiver. That's Jay Silver, defensive tackle. Lorenzo Lingard, running back. And you.
I can shut down your
Rams in Los Angeles in an NFC wildcard game. Tonight, 7:30 Eastern on NBC, your home of Super Bowl 52. Army All-Americans, Falcons on the left, Rams on the right.
And a quarterback at this point for the West. Is that? We got a sky cam here now? It's become in vogue now in football here on NBC. I like it. Good vantage point we showed.
And a new quarterback. It's amazingly through the hands of two separate West receivers there. And a new quarterback, number 14, is Tanner McKee, the only uncommitted quarterback in this game. Interesting timeline he has. He's going to go on a mission, which will affect the next couple of years, but he'll make a college decision in February.
Z-Zip Crack 38 truck on one-on-one. Ready?
Going to find out in March where he's going on his mission. He's going to leave in June for 2 years and then plans to enroll in college in the fall of 2020.
Ready, ready. Let's go. Come on, go.
Around the right side goes Harold Joyner.
And going on missions, fairly common, especially for a lot of the schools on the West Coast, and Texas, Texas A&M, Washington, Stanford, BYU, just some of the schools who've been hard charging trying to get Tanner McKee to be willing to sign with them before he goes on that mission in March.
Kind of unbelievable. I mean, he's playing in this game here in January, taking some official visits. He'll sign next month. Then in March, he finds out where he's going on his mission. It could be anywhere across the globe.
Little half rollout, gets rid of it just in time, and that's his second incompletion. Wide range of schools that Tanner's looking at. He's already visited in the Big 12, Texas, SEC, Texas A&M, and Alabama. Go to the Pac-12, he spent time with Washington, and he also plans to visit Stanford later this month.
Spends a lot of time working with the Eagle Scouts, cleaning up parks. Going to be a very different experience as he potentially travels the globe, depending on where the location is he gets sent on his mission.
And back to receive for the East, the highest rated not committed defensive player in this game, Patrick Surtain. Yes, his father, the NFL veteran defensive back. Backed way up. See how far he can bring it back. And he's brought down at the 36-yard line. West offense already with a 3-0 lead, back on the field. Another declaration coming up here in this quarter as well. The U.S. Army. Find out more at GoArmy.com. And by Football University, where football players become better. Visit footballuniversity.org. Taking a look now at some of the famous faces you recognize that have appeared here in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl over the years. Sam Darnold, just here in 2015, he's going to be a big part, perhaps the lead part of the conversation, heading into the upcoming drafts. New quarterback here for the East Side, Phil Jurkovec out of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, 33. Has been committed to Notre Dame since his sophomore year. And let's go down to Lewis Johnson for the presentation of the American Family Insurance Band Family Award.
All right, Paul, thanks very much. This is an award that recognizes members who contribute to the dream of becoming an All-American. And I'm here with the Romney family, and this is Chandler, who's a trumpet player. He'll be performing at halftime. And Chandler, what has it meant for you to be a part of this Army All-American Bowl band that will be performing shortly?
It's a really humbling experience. I've enjoyed it a lot, and to get to perform with some of the best in the country is really, really it's just fun. There's no other word for it.
All right, and Dad, your family is being recognized for your really tremendous efforts. All 5 of your kids have played musical instruments. Why the musical commitment to your family?
Well, we believe that music is a really important part of education and their development, and also we just believe in supporting what our kids are interested in, and they've been interested in music. It's been pretty cool.
Well, congratulations to all of you guys, and this is a beautiful trophy you get to take home. I'm assuming that Mom and Dad will hold on to this while you go to college, right? All right, guys, congratulations. This is our American Family Insurance Band Family of the Year. Congrats, Paul.
Lewis, thank you very much. I'm sure they'll find a spot to keep that warm and safe.
They got a lot of space.
I love bands, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah, you think about it. No, seriously.
You play the instruments?
No, but I mean, when you play high school football or college football, it's part of what makes the experience so cool. It's one thing that sometimes I feel like it's missing from the NFL. The bands really increase the energy.
Future Fighting Irish quarterback Bill Jurkovec in trouble and goes down at the 10. Outstanding pass rush led by Ronnie Perkins on his way to Oklahoma.
See it from the vertical look here. Sky cam. Ronnie Perkins starts with the inside move, able to dip that shoulder and then finish towards the QB. Several defenders in the backfield, and Jurkovec, as mobile as he is, he just didn't have enough help from his offensive line.
Jurkovec's a great athlete. I've seen him play in the state championship in Pennsylvania, both in football and in basketball. He usually can make the first guy miss. He's not going to be able to make 3 or 4 of these guys miss.
Got up from the bottom of that pile, had to readjust his face mask. A lot different than the high school basketball season he's been excelling in these winter months. Going to be outstanding field position for the West offense and whatever quarterback they trot out. Next declaration from offensive lineman Chris Murray told us yesterday that one of those schools is a perfect fit for him. He'll let us know which one that is after the break.
Christophany David Murray, offensive guard, Modern Day High School. I've been waiting a really, really long time. The decision is finally here. Today, I make my college declaration live on NBC. Maybe I'll be choosing this one, this one. That's a good choice, too. Which one's it going to be? Find out next.
All right, listen up. Out on that field today, you will be ready for anything. And I want you to always...
Said he's waited a long time to announce his college plans. That time is about to happen. Ross, what's he do well?
Well, I really like how athletic he is. Sometimes, you get overshadowed when you're at a high school like Modern Day, but he moves so well. You see the leverage there to be able to get that gap. And then even just the athleticism. Watch here. He's always looking for work, trying to find someone. Watch his feet quick up right there. Just quick enough to be able to give JT Daniels the opportunity to make that throw.
Well, let's do it. Here's Lewis Johnson.
You should just feel the tension down here as this family waits to hear what's going to happen, and everyone surrounding us for this big moment. So, big fella Chris Murray, 6'3", 300 pounds. You've been waiting for a long time to make this declaration. I see your mom, Dr. Judy Murray, waiting on you, uncles, family members who've come here from Fort Worth. We have 3 hats in front of us. UCLA, Stanford, and Notre Dame. The moment is now.
First off, I just want to thank my mom. She's my rock. I wouldn't be here without the sacrifices she made. All my loving family, the people standing behind me, my uncle, my friends, my personal trainer, Scott Braska. Thank you, Coach Rollinson, Coach Ward, all my coaches. But I'll be continuing my next 4 years at UCLA.
UCLA Bruins. Oh, and a good reaction here. Mom is smiling. So, Chris, you had some great options here. Why was this the fit for you?
It's just it's a place close by home. I'm more of an athletic moving lineman anyways. I feel like I could fit into Chip Kelly's offensive pretty good. And I just feel comfortable there, and I feel like I can do great things academically and on the field.
Many are leaving after this game to enroll in school, but you're going to stay and finish your senior year. Why is that important to you?
I just want to walk across with all my people that I started high school with. I don't want to cut it short early, but I'll be at UCLA this fall.
All righty. I can't tell you, Mom is super happy about this. Chris, congratulations to you and your family on this decision.
Thank you so much.
All righty, Paul. Happy family.
Now he's happy to be moving on and thinks his athleticism will be a good fit to play center in that Chip Kelly system.
Chip Kelly has to be ecstatic about the talent he's got there, because we know there's going to be tempo, spread. He likes linemen who can move, and Chris Murray fits that bill.
Let's go.
Chris's high school teammate at modern day, JT Daniels, in at quarterback, scrambles out. And he's intercepted. Third interception we've seen in this game. 2 from Trevor Lawrence and now 1 from JT Daniels. It's intercepted by Jalen Armour Davis, who's going to Alabama.
Yet another one of these big defensive backs. He's 6'1", 180 from Mobile, Alabama. And what happens is these quarterbacks are under duress more than they're used to. They're not as familiar with the receivers as they are in high school. And they're going against the best defensive backs in the country with uncommon length and athleticism.
The ball just kind of tailed inside on JT Daniels there a bit more because he delayed, hesitated for a moment after the pass rush got home.
Jalen Armour Davis, as I mentioned, on his way to Alabama. Barton Simmons, come on back in here. And we're used to seeing Alabama at number 1. I think it's been 7 years in a row. The reverse and looking to pass. And that's Darian Kendrick. Wise decision and some wheels around the left side. So Barton, Alabama, we are used to seeing them number 1, but I noticed they're at number 5. What's happening there?
Look, a lot of things. It's a little bit of a smaller class for Alabama this year. I mean, they've got a lot of freshmen and sophomore that are playing. And then you've got Kirby Smart really making a big impact in the state of Georgia, where Alabama's used to doing a lot of their work. But Alabama's not done yet. Expect a strong close down the stretch. Jalen Armour Davis made that interception. They want some DBs that can play right away. Tyson Campbell, one they're really chasing hard as well in this game.
That's caught by Darian Kendrick. Has the ball in back-to-back plays. So even though they're 5th instead of 1, doesn't sound like anybody should be too worried about Nick Saban yet.
It's interesting. Saban's one of the guys, Paul, that really doesn't like the early signing period. I mean, he was complaining about it quite a bit. I'm trying to get ready for a bowl game. We're trying to get ready for the college football playoff, and we have to be worried about recruiting and making sure these guys sign. He is not a fan of it.
What do you guys think of the early signing period? It's, as we talked about, the very first time we've seen the early signing a possibility in December. Nick Saban, not a fan. What do you think?
I hope there's some adjustments that get made to it, because it can end up putting the players in some difficult positions where, this first time through early signing period, December 20th through 22nd, there's so much movement through the coaching ranks, head coaches, coordinators that continue to churn through the cycle after players have already signed their national letters of intent. So one big change I hope comes is that if the head coach ends up switching schools after the early signing period, that the player will have the opportunity to get out of that NLI.
Ross?
I'd almost rather see them do it in August. I mean, it just doesn't seem to me like there's that much of a difference between late December and early February. So many of these guys commit before their senior year. Basketball, you're allowed to sign before your senior year of high school basketball. Why can't football be the same?
Trevor Lawrence inside, good. First down and then some for the east side. Sprinting free, Ricky Person, who plays college football at North Carolina State.
He is one of the best running backs in the country. You talk to the experts, they'll say he's the most complete back in this game. And what a get he is for NC State. Watch the stop-start quickness here. From the and makes that little move right there to cut it all the way back. Very, very impressive, and a huge get for NC State. He's not the only NC State player in this game either. His future teammate Aleem McNeil's in here as well, which tells you NC State's recruiting better than they have in a while.
A couple of defenders on their way to Raleigh. Inside the 5-yard line goes Jalen Gill. Jalen will play at Ohio State. As usual, no shortage of future Buckeyes in this game. We'll see if Trevor Lawrence, #1 rated player in this game, the highest rated quarterback we've ever had, will play at Clemson, and he'll actually go there tomorrow. Be on campus Monday to get his career started there. See if he can get it going here in this game. If you were with us at the start, threw 2 interceptions. And to show you what a change that is for him, he threw only 1 interception his entire senior season. Direct snap to the running back. And the West squad was ready. That was Ricky Person, who had the big run to get the West Side down this way.
Aiden Hutchinson's having a day. Future Michigan Wolverine defensive end. That's at least the third or fourth play in the backfield he's made. He's been impressive.
On his way to Michigan, his father Chris also played in Michigan. 5th grade, he once wrote down, "I will play football at the University of Michigan," stuck it on his wall. Now he is on his way to Ann Arbor. Ooh, look at the West defense. Drag down Trevor Lawrence. Number 97, there's Hutchinson in on the play once again. The front four from the West Side. All over Lawrence on that one.
He looks like the type of...
22. Now let's go.
I thought they weren't allowed to blitz.
It looked a little bit like a blitz, huh?
It looked a lot of bit like a blitz. I mean, that was clearly a blitz off the edge, which is supposed to be illegal.
And the coaching staff on the sideline for these pointing that out in this moment to the officials. I think Trevor Lawrence may have realized it as well.
Just had our second declaration. Nice afternoon for Hutchinson on his way to Michigan. Maybe he'll meet in the Rose Bowl someday against that future Bruin. Chris Murray, all smiles on his way to Westwood.
Safety, George Tackers, tight end, Shane Simon, linebacker,
Jason Adamalola, defensive tackle.
Phil Jakovic, quarterback, Notre Dame.
Go Irish.
Trevor Lawrence, quarterback. De'Aaron Kendrick, wide receiver.
Josh Belt, defensive tackle.
BT Potter, kicker.
Justin Maskell, defensive end. Jackson Carmen, offensive tackle.
Xavier Thomas, defensive end. Colin McMichael, I'm a cornerback, committed to Clemson University.
Pretty good haul for the Clemson Tigers. 8 future Tigers playing in this game, including the top-rated player, Trevor Lawrence, off to a rough start here, but they're still awfully excited to have him coming to Clemson. Coming up here at halftime to get you ready for what's coming up in the NFL. Jimmy Roberts, Mike Florio, preview the NFL wildcard games, and we'll have all your NFL news. Michaela Schifrin does it again. That's all coming up at halftime. We're awfully close to halftime. You saw BT Potter just now saying he was going to Clemson. Well, this is a live look at him trying to kick a 32-yard field goal that would get the East team on the board. Does he bring it back in? Nice draw.
Yeah, it's impressive. Good way to close the half.
Two quarters in the books. Also, 2 declarations. We now know J.J. Peterson will play at Tennessee and Chris Murray on his way to UCLA. 4 more declarations to go inside the Alamo Dome. Come on back for the second half.
Welcome to the Honda NBC Sports Desk.
And hi again, everyone. Wild card weekend in the NFL. 8 teams facing elimination. Jimmy Roberts, joined by Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. Counselor, let's start with the defending Super Bowl champions. There's a report of significant dissension in the ranks in New England, certainly between Brady, Belichick, and Kraft. What do you make of that story?
Well, the response by the Patriots has been fascinating, Jimmy, because it began with a very vague and general statement to ESPN in connection with the report. Then there was a joint statement from Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft yesterday morning, and then most recently, Robert Kraft goes on the record with Peter King of NBC and the MMQB.com and targets specific aspects of the report. For example, claims there was never an extended meeting between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, the upshot of which was you must trade Jimmy Garoppolo. And on top of that, just the notion that there was ever any type of discussion, mandate, whatever, this was all Bill Belichick's idea, according to Robert Kraft. And also, as it relates to Tom Brady, this notion that Brady was in some way threatened by the ongoing presence of Jimmy Garoppolo. This isn't a guy who runs away from competition. He thrives on competition. He always has. They've drafted countless quarterbacks over the years in New England. So the response from the Patriots is, most, if not all of this is false, and they plan to go forward just as they have over the past decade and a half.
5 Super Bowl championships for the Patriots, 5 coaching vacancies in the league. Perhaps the one that has been discussed the most, John Gruden. Is this going to happen on Tuesday?
Oh, it is going to happen. A press conference will occur, and I don't think, Jimmy, there was ever even a vacancy. I think they knew they were going to get Gruden before they moved on from Jack Del Rio. Reportedly a 10-year, $100 million contract, which will probably cause some other coaches out there who have accomplished more than Gruden. Gruden was 45-51 his last 6 years in Tampa Bay. There are going to be other coaches who say, okay, if Gruden gets an average deal worth $10 million a year, maybe we need to go back and take a look at ours. And you could see multiple coaches try to match, if not beat, Gruden's average.
Been a long time since he has coached. Well, the coaching vacancies get most of the attention, but the general manager vacancies, there's one very, very significant one that's up in Green Bay, where Ted Thompson has been reassigned, and what happens with the new general manager there will no doubt have some telling on what happens with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, this is a huge story because Thompson and McCarthy have been tied together since they arrived. It was Thompson in 2005, hired McCarthy in 2006, and they have been joined at the hip. And now, with a new GM, if there isn't a fit, and McCarthy said this himself, it's going to be a problem. And if Russ Ball, the VP of Football Administration in Green Bay, ends up getting that job, and the indications are he may, Ball may not want McCarthy, McCarthy may not want Ball. I don't think anything happens immediately, but it could be something that hovers over all of 2018. There could be a divorce looming early next year.
Wow, drama at one of the most storied franchises in the league. Mike, thanks. Mike, of course, will be part of our coverage this evening. NFC wildcard playoff right here on NBC. Win or go home for the Falcons. Wouldn't that be some story if they could get back to the Super Bowl? Playing the Rams, football night in America, 7:30 Eastern, right here on NBC. Kids walk championships in San Jose. 19-year-old Brady Tennell burst onto the national scene with a near perfect free skate to win her very first ever national championship. What a moment for the young lady from Illinois. She'll be joined on the U.S. Olympic team by 24-year-old Mirai Nagasu, U.S. champion from 10 years ago, who finished second last night, and Karen Chen, who finished third. Our coverage continues at 4 today on NBC with the pair's free skate. Meanwhile, in World Cup skiing, another terrific result for the American sensation Michaela Schifrin, winning a giant slalom today in Slovenia. Schifrin is still just 22 years old. She's already won half as many World Cup races as the winningest female ski racer of all time, Lindsey Vonn. 78 career wins. Today was Schifrin's 39th, and she won despite suffering a pretty strong flu bug that nearly took her out of competition. From the cold weather to something much warmer. Coming up at the top of the hour on Golf Channel, the PGA Tour heads to Hawaii and the island of Maui, the Century Tournament of Champions. And with a quick preview, here is Rich Lerner. Lucky dog.
Nice soft landing in the middle of a hard winter. Golf Channel sending all of you snowbound lovers of the game this postcard from the Pacific, where Jordan Spieth made a big day 2 move. The Open champion shot 66. World number 1 Dustin Johnson's been busting some massive drives, also in the mix. Ricky Fowler as well, looking for a Saturday jump up the leaderboard. Go ahead, stoke the fire, enjoy the stunning views and the best players in the game, all here on Maui. Century Tournament of Champions, 3 p.m. Eastern on Golf Channel.
Thanks, Rich. Look forward to that, certainly. We are at halftime of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Back to San Antonio for the second half, right after this.
This has been the Honda.
This is the first of many welcomes that you'll hear throughout the week. You're not just here because you're a good football player. You're here because of your character.
East on 3. Come on. 1, 2, 3. If you like defense, you came to the right All-Star game. U.S. Army All-American Bowl. We're still looking for that first touchdown. 3-3 tie as we get ready for the third quarter. Thanks for coming back with us, Paul Burmeister, alongside Ross Tucker and Anthony Herron. So, Ross, obviously, defense, the story here. What's your headline?
Well, it's not that surprising. Anytime you're in an all-star environment like this, The defensive line is going to be ahead of the offensive line. The quarterbacks aren't used to working with these receivers, and these are some of the best defensive backs we've ever seen.
The size of the defensive backs, all of them being over 6 foot, it seems, in the game, and the way they can cover space, the ground that they can cover when the quarterbacks think a receiver's open is really catching them off guard.
To the highlights, a lot of those big defensive backs showing up, and also the defensive lineman. Trevor Lawrence, top-rated player in this game, off to a rough start.
Made for a long first half for Trevor Lawrence. Brendan Bradley-Hiles with the deflection there. Jaden Woodby able to pluck it out of the air and take it the other direction.
It really wasn't all that much better for the West quarterback, JT Daniels. He was able to make some plays, but he also was under duress. You see J.J. Peterson, who committed to Tennessee in the first half, hit Daniels hard. Daniels, you could tell, was hurting a little bit when he walked off.
We've seen throughout the first half, on his way to the Michigan Wolverines, Peyton Hutchinson has been in the backfield the entire first half so far. You see him as he's getting ready to go to Ann Arbor. He's been harassing everyone from the east sideline.
And there he is on his way to Ann Arbor. A strong first half showing for Aiden Hutchinson. Let's go down to Marty Snyder for the presentation of the ROTC Student Scholarship.
Well, Paul, as you mentioned, every year the Army presents an ROTC scholarship to a deserving student. Today, the Army once again delivers on that long-standing tradition and commitment. Patrick Gruber from Cibolo, Texas, where he's an academic, all-state, I should say, third baseman, and also an Eagle Scout. We have Dad Gerald here, and from the Army, we have Colonel Jason Holleran, commander of the 5th Brigade, U.S. Army Cadet Command. So, Patrick, you're down to St. Mary's, Alabama, Georgia. Where are you going to pick to go to school?
I don't think I look pretty good in red, so it's a hard choice, but I believe St. Mary's is the right choice for me.
There you go. He's going to go to St. Mary's, gets a big cheer from the soldiers here. So what are you going to study at St. Mary's?
I'm going to study business management, and the ROTC program is great. I love it. I like to thank all my support, my family, my friends, and especially the cadre at St. Mary's for being the person I am today.
Colonel Holleran, I'll let you do the honors. And I got to tell you, Patrick does have a sense of humor, Paul, because he said, hey, would they mind if I added one more comma to this check? I think the Army might notice if there was one more comma on that check. Congratulations, Patrick.
Thank you very much.
Money, sense of humor, all good down there. Marty Snyder, thank you very much. And you've been with us before. You know this day is all about declarations of all different kinds inside the Alamo Dome. So here's what's happened already. Ross mentioned J.J. Peterson started off. He's going to Tennessee. Chris Murray, all smiles. Can't wait to get to play for Chip Kelly at UCLA. And we have 4 coming up. Kelvin Joseph, Rondale Moore, Brendan Radley-Hiles, and we'll finish it off with Amon-Ra St. Brown. 4 declarations left to go throughout the next 2 quarters. We'll see if we have a touchdown or 2 mixed in there.
I would anticipate that we will. I mean, in the competition on the practice field throughout the week, both defenses were thoroughly impressive. But as the pass protection improves, which I think they'll be able to shore some things up in the second half, that talent on the outside from QB to wide receiver may take hold.
That wide receiver we just saw, Amon-Ra St. Brown, went to high school with Chris Murray, who declared for UCLA. And modern day, JT Daniels, a few months ago was a junior. Now he's a senior. Going to have a heck of a course load coming up here this spring to graduate as a senior. End up in downtown Los Angeles at USC. And here we go, second half underway. Jalen Green brings it out on his way to Ohio State. Martin Simmons is the director of 24/7 Sports. There's a new number 1 at the top of your top 10, and it is the Georgia Bulldogs. How'd they get there?
Well, I think a big part of it is we've seen a rise of talent in the state of Georgia. It's really a big 4. It's California, Texas, Florida, and now the state of Georgia. And Kirby Smart came in and he was charged with taking care of business in his home state. He did a lot of damage at Alabama as a recruiter, doing just that, stealing guys from Mark Richt. And remarkably, he's done it. He has come in and really dominated the state. And I think that's why we're seeing this move up in the rankings this year. That's why they're number 1 right now. And really, I think that's why they finished number 1 in this cycle. Nick Saban and Alabama all of a sudden have some really legitimate competition on the recruiting trail.
Matt Corral going to Ole Miss at quarterback, and Barton coming right back to you. As a completion here from Corral just across the 20-yard line. You mentioned the big 4, California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Georgia in there hanging around 4, or would you put them at number 1?
Look, if we're talking about NFL draft talents, Georgia was the best in the country last year. I mean, this is a state that, while there's other states with more volume, just more mass population, top-end talent, Georgia has a great balance of raw athletic guys, but who are also really well coached and yet not tapped out. It's kind of a nice balance that Georgia's been able to find. I think that's a big reason why so many good players are coming out of that state.
Let's go. Penalty marker down. We'll also tie into what's coming up tonight.
For 73 of the offense. 5 yards. Still second down.
On NBC, Sean McVay, head coach, young head coach for the Rams. High school quarterback down in the state of Georgia. Anthony, go ahead.
One of the things, and I lived in Atlanta for several years, that you've seen over the past decade in the state of Georgia, not just the physical talent of the players themselves, but Barton kind of touched on it there. They're being coached at a much higher level. It's becoming an athletic hotbed for folks who will train some of these players, quarterbacks, wide receivers, defensive linemen, on the skills earlier in their lives.
Let's go. A sweep to the right side. And a nice play defensively for the East team. That's Dax Hollifield, linebacker out of Shelby, North Carolina. He's going to choose at some point this winter between Stanford, North Carolina, and Virginia Tech.
I'd say Holyfield might be the surest tackler of anyone that I've evaluated with his film this week, because once he makes contact with a ball carrier, they may not even go backwards every single time. He's not the biggest thumper in the game, but you rarely see him missing tackles.
He definitely is a little more filled out than some of these other linebackers, and you can just tell he's got the instincts to be able to key and diagnose things quickly.
3rd down and 10. We'll see what Matt Corral has, looking for the corner routes, and just overthrows his intended receiver, Jalen Waddle, uncommitted wide receiver out of Bel Air, Texas.
Waddle's gotten open a lot today. I mean, Waddle's been one of the offensive stars, even though he didn't catch that one. He's been getting open left and right as Corral says hello to Nesta Silvera.
Nesta Silvera, defensive lineman, on his way to Miami. Isaac Power punts it away. And the east side will begin exactly at midfield. We talked about Georgia ranked #1 this year, the top recruiting class. Big night coming up for the Bulldogs Monday, and a handful of the alumni of this game.
Bedlam here in the Rose Bowl for the Dog fans. 10-5, touchdown, touchdown.
Nobody gonna catch #1.
Jump, 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 touchdown. You got a block for Brown, 50, 10, 5, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Dogs win it. We're headed to Atlanta.
American Bowl is brought to you by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. And by Football University, where football players become better. Visit footballuniversity.org. Take a look there at the U.S. Army All-American Marching Band, comprised of 125 senior marching band members from across the country, and has an average GPA of 3.75.
Wow.
I can tell you the average GPA of the booth here is not 3.75, unless you two guys have over 4.0.
Ross Tucker-ish? Ross Tucker-esque
No,
with that? No,
definitely not. But look at that. I mean, not only do we have the best football players in the country, we got the best band members in the country.
I thought we were going to have a kinship on the band thing, because I was in the marching band as a youth, playing the trombone.
I had no musical ability whatsoever. None.
Love to see Trevor Lawrence get it going here, and that's not a good start. Rough first half, he threw 2 interceptions and puts the ball on the turf right there. He did recover it.
One of the things I really liked talking to Trevor Lawrence on Thursday was that when we asked him about his favorite player, he said Peyton Manning. You know, he's actually born in Knoxville and growing up was actually a UT fan. But anytime a quarterback says that they like Peyton Manning, I like to hear that as a former offensive lineman, because that tells you they understand preparation, getting the ball out quickly, you know, the things, really the mental side of the game.
He was under duress there from Michael Thompson and Tommy Togiai.
There you go, give him the screen. An excellent job of pursuit and the tackle by the West defense. And with the catch there for the East, Jalen Gill, he'll play at Ohio State.
The speed on the field today was impeccable because it looked like there was going to be an opportunity to turn the corner. But then I believe it was Deshaun White able to chase him down.
Steelers red. Yeah. Steelers red. Here we go. 33.
Anybody got a good call on 3rd down and 18? See what they come up with here. Looking to get rid of it deep back across his body. Good arm strength, but not a lot of accuracy. And we do have a penalty marker down.
Yeah.
End of the defense. 15 yards in the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
And Ross, one of your favorite names in the game, Pala Ionote. He was coming from that inside linebacker position, tracing the very mobile Trevor Lawrence outside the pocket. Ote did what I've done a time or two in my day. When you're close enough to the QB, even when the ball's gone, you want to just let him know you're there, make him feel you.
And that is what his tape looked like. That kid has unbelievable instincts and is a tremendous striker. And not only this, how about the fact that EA, they call him EA, his dad, uncle, and grandfather, all Army Rangers.
Wow.
I mean, talk about having something to live up to.
Here we go. Good place for him.
All Army Rangers.
Playing in this game, top 15 player overall,
33.
number 1 inside linebacker. Committed to SC in February, held true on his way to be a Trojan. Jalen Gill again. And once again, the front 7 for the West is there. Number 19, Ron Tatum. You saw him getting up from the pile. Made a play earlier. He'll be an Oklahoma Sooner.
One of the players who decommitted from Texas back in June. He plays with a lot of power at the point of attack. He looks to me like there's a potential he could develop into an interior lineman, but right now very effective and powerful off the edge.
Was actually Lincoln Riley's first official commitment as a head coach.
Yeah, if you're 270 in high school at the end, you're probably going to move inside.
Lawrence sees an opening there and has enough for a first down for the East team. We'll see if that can springboard him to a better second half than first. Said he's going to Clemson tomorrow. No classes Monday or Tuesday, so he's going to go to the complex. Look for somebody to play catch with and probably get in a couple of workouts too.
You know, as a kid from Georgia, he said Georgia probably would have been his second choice, but he just loved the culture and the environment when he went to Clemson. He said it's a lot of positive people that are going to be good influences on me.
And players describe it in different ways. Some say they like the fit. Others say it felt like home right away. But a lot of them come back to that theme that as soon as they got on campus, just felt like a place they'd be happy. A quick completion for Lawrence. We do have a flag down, likely for a face mask.
We may get a touchdown out of these penalties, the way this drive's going so far.
It's Rondale Moore. He'll announce his college plans here later in the second half.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 13 of the defense. After distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
But Trevor Lawrence said he's looking forward to the competition. We'll take a look at the face mask from Stearns, who played defensive back at Texas. How firm do you think Kelly Bryant's grip is on that starting job? I would say it has to be pretty good. He led his team to the college football playoff.
I would agree. The passing attack of Clemson didn't grow this season in the way that it did on the previous QBs, but the way they play defense and even the talent on the field today defensively.
Trevor Lawrence thought he had the free 5 yards. And the inside give. Nice play. And there is the first touchdown of the game. James Cook, future Georgia Bulldog.
Well, the skill position talent from the East approaching the military, showing their appreciation.
Let's go.
They originally thought that there was a jump there. Trevor Lawrence is clapping. He thought he wanted a free 5 yards. Why get a free 5 yards when you can get an easy 6 points?
James Cook, even back when he was in 8th grade, we saw him on NBC Sports Network playing in the 8th grade national championship game just 4 years ago, looking like his older brother Dalvin.
That's right. Was there with you.
Naples, Florida.
Yeah.
FBU national championship.
Kind of interesting to me anytime, you know, a younger brother doesn't follow in his older brother's footsteps. Yeah, they're all unique individuals, but Alvin had so much success at Florida State.
BT Potter up and in. Oh, if they only had talented running backs at Georgia, the Bulldogs might be okay, right? We'll see if they can find a way to get him the ball next fall. Well, thank you very much, James Cook. First touchdown that goes up into the stands. He fired the ball up there prior to that. Coming up next, we just had a touchdown. Things are good here. How about a declaration? Kelvin Joseph, a one-time LSU commit. Tigers in his future once again. Find out when we come back.
My name is Kelvin Joseph. Watch me declare live on NBC. You know the vibe.
San Antonio, Kelvin Joseph has the stage. Here's Marty Snyder.
And Paul, he is out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the 7th-ranked safety in the country. We have Mom Latoria here, stepdad Mike as well, and this is a big moment for one of the best defensive backs in the country. Kelvin is down to LSU, Florida State, Alabama, and Auburn. Who's it going to be?
DBU University.
It's going to be LSU. He stays at home. Now, you were committed to LSU, then decommitted, and now you're back. What drew you away and what brought you back?
It's time to make a name for myself in my city.
How about for you personally? You'll be the first person in your family to go to college. What a milestone this is for your family.
It's a blessing. I thank God. Thank God for the opportunity.
There you go. How about a pickup for LSU? They get the kid who raised 15 minutes from the stadium to stay at home, and he'll be a defensive back there, Barton.
Yeah, big get for Coach Ed Orgeron as he continues to try to keep the best players in the state of Louisiana at home. And this is the first part of what LSU hopes is a 4-part close here down the stretch. They want to get Kelvin Joseph, a guy that can play cornerback or safety on the next level. And they also want to get a kid named Mario Goodrich, a cornerback as well, a 4-star kid. Pat Surtain Jr., 5-star cornerback that we've seen out here today, and then a 5-star wide receiver, Jamar Chase, out of Louisiana. So still more work to be done for LSU, and they've got to hold off Auburn and Alabama, where he still plans to take official visits in January.
Interesting. Commits there and still going to take a couple of visits. And guys, got to think a lot to do with that decision. Defensive coordinator Dave Aranda turned down Texas A&M and will remain on staff there in Baton Rouge. A lot of recruits happy about that.
Kelvin Joseph, that long frame, very versatile. Could be a corner or a safety at the collegiate level.
And the West's going to start out inside its own 5-yard line. Jalen Green had a tough time coming up with that.
You know, there's enough pressure on these kids anyway. Can you imagine being in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and not picking LSU? Getting back to Kelvin Joseph, that would not be an easy thing.
And that's secondary for LSU over the years. All the talent they've put into the National Football League. And we know the offense has had its struggles, and Matt Canada is supposed to come in and kind of revamp things, and they still had a few fits and starts, but defensively is where their bread's been buttered.
This is Tanner McKee, again, the only uncommitted quarterback in this game out of Corona, California. Inside give, and that ace defense is right there. Dallas Gantz, linebacker who played at Ohio State. Bringing down Brady, late add to this game, who'll play at Rice.
That yellow looks pretty good. On the yellow suits him. And also just to hear him talk about, you know, being the first from his family to go to college. And that's what it's all about. I know these guys all are excited to play football and they want to try to make the NFL, but getting a free education is pretty darn cool.
Tanner McKee looking deep. And an excellent job at coming back to the football there. Amon-Ra St. Brown. See if he gets a flag for punting the football after catching it.
Are you allowed to do that?
I would say even in an all-star game that's frowned upon.
But this is one of the things that Amon-Ra St. Brown is known for. Even at Mater Dei, had a few post-snap celebrations with some of the huge plays that he made. Sometimes he'd get flagged. Sometimes he didn't. Very boisterous personality.
How about that family, by the way? His older brother, Equanimous, just turned pro. And now he's leaving Notre Dame early to go to the NFL draft. The other brother, Osiris, is at Stanford.
His father, Mr. Universe, at one point. A discussion going on about the specifics of the flag, but McKee rolls out to his right, just fires back to his left.
There are 2 penalties on the play. Pass interference, defense. That penalty is declined. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense, punting the ball. 15 yards with the dead ball spot. First down.
We'll see.
Spinning the ball and then punting the ball.
A little bit of both. I spent some time with Ian JT Daniels on the field the other night, as we saw earlier in the show. And he's not as outspoken as some of the players, but he's got this competitive fire that seems to constantly burn inside of him.
Take a listen to Tanner McKee's reaction to this play.
Hey, that's nice. Way to go get that, baby. Way to go get that.
Yeah, quarterback loves that. You underthrow the ball by 5 or 6 yards, and the guy makes the play anyway.
Well, that's part of the football world today, isn't it? You want to be able to trust in those one-on-one matchups, trust that your playmakers will come back and bail you out.
Illegal substitution on the offense. 5 yards, still first down.
We'll back it up 5. Tanner McKee telling us yesterday in a conversation with him that he's going to Stanford next week. He's already had 3 face-to-face visits with David Shaw. Just wants to get a feel for the campus. And here's what he did in high school at Centennial High School in Corona, California.
Well, he was initially recruited by a number of schools as an athlete, not just a quarterback, but plenty of those run-pass option plays in the system that he ran at Centennial High. One of the things that stands out on film, and seeing him here in person throughout the week in San Antonio as well, the deep ball accuracy normally there, kind of threw the jump ball to St. Brown a moment ago that he came back and got.
He also said he told us he plays volleyball, which I think is pretty cool. He looks like a volleyball player, doesn't he, when you see him?
Another 6'6" QB.
Had an interesting story about Nick Saban when he spent time in his office. And we talked about the fact that he's going to go on a mission, and for the next 2 years, won't begin college until the fall of 2020. And has that completion to Jalen Waddle, uncommitted wide receiver from Bel Air, Texas. But McKee said Nick Saban was willing to draw up a contract just between the two of them that said, I will maintain your scholarship for 2 years, but you got to sign it and say that you're going to take it when you get back from the mission.
And even when you grow up in the LDS community, there may be things you still aren't certain about as far as what the effect of the mission trips may be. And he actually was able to spend time talking to Steve Young, a number of other athletes who've been through that themselves, and get advice just on what he'll be in for once he does leave.
Ready, let's go.
3rd down and long here, going for the shovel pass. And the East defense not fooled at all. And there to make the play, we talked about him top of the broadcast, going to Penn State, Micah Parsons.
He almost had that interception right there, and he would have taken it to the house. Had an unbelievable season as a running back. He's from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I reside. I actually saw his 3rd high school game ever as a freshman. He had like 6 sacks, and a former college teammate of mine, Andy Frank, is the director of personnel at Penn State. I texted him. I said, hey, there's a 9th grader here at Central Dauphin High School that you might want to know about. And he went on to have an unbelievable year. You know, I do the state championship games every year in Pennsylvania. He's the most impressive athlete I've seen in Pennsylvania since Terrell Pryor 10 years ago.
Wow. One of the reasons Penn State plans to use him pretty much everywhere in the front 7. Middle linebacker, outside linebacker, D-end. Going to be fun to watch him in the Big Ten if you're not playing against him for the next 3 or 4 years. Kelvin Joseph just told us he likes that yellow. Going to stay in his hometown of Baton Rouge and play for the LSU Tigers. 3 declarations in the books. Still 3 left to go. 3:48 left in the 3rd quarter in San Antonio.
I can shut down. 8 live on NBC.
When I was 11 years old, my father took me to Kennedy Space Center, where I watched a space shuttle launch into the sky. And I knew from that day that I wanted to do something in the space industry.
Why did you choose aerospace engineering?
I love planes, possibly design one someday.
The Army opened doors for me that I didn't know existed and allowed me to develop as a leader. And I'm honored to help inspire the next generation of scientists and engineers.
Army goes pretty well with best high school players in the country this weekend in San Antonio. Great representation here. Always a big part of our story as we get here midweek and watch the players and also get to mix with the Army. Eastside put up a touchdown on the last time they had the ball. Quarterback now is Jaron Williams. Scoring that touchdown was James Cook out of Miami, who's about to be a Georgia Bulldog.
Here we go. 33. Now, let's go.
Jaron Williams twice committed to Kentucky, but will play at Miami. Pretty pass down the left side. And how about that defensive play?
Guess who?
Tanner McKee.
They continue to test Brendan Radley-Hiles, who continues to answer the bell. There was separation here initially, but then again, Radley-Hiles gets his head around and is able to showcase the makeup speed.
That ball was thrown a little bit behind the receiver, though. I mean, it was a great job by Hiles to catch up and to bat it away, but you could tell the receiver, Mark Pope, who's going to Miami, he's kind of like an Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley type. He felt like he had Buki beat.
Hey, back up. Hey.
I like these mics.
Delay a game. Number 12 of the offense, 5 yards. Still second down.
We'll find out where he's going to go to school. Check him. And earlier in the game, this one led to an interception, able to deflect it. Jalen Woodby snatches it up.
You know what he is? He's just a baller. I mean, he really does remind you of Tyrann Mathieu. He's just a baller. And it was interesting talking to him on Thursday.
Yeah.
Very, very focused on his career.
Declaration coming up here in the fourth quarter. Williams again to the left side, and again just a little bit underthrown. And that time making the play, Jalen Green. Going to Texas, one of 3 future Texas DBs in this game.
And Jalen Green longer than Radley-Hiles. It's more of the modern day corner as far as the guy who's going to be on the outside, challenging receivers, very physical when he's in full press. You're not seeing as much full press, really invading the personal space for guys in this game.
Barton, I know you like a whole lot what's going on in the defensive backfield at Texas, and what they're doing on that side of the ball. Big reason they've taken a big jump up.
There's no question. And really what they've done is they've sort of re-secured the state. Last year, the top 7 players in the state of Texas went out of state. This year, Texas has 10 of the top 15 committed. They only had 1 of the top 20 committed last year. That's a big reason why they're the number 3 class in the country for 24/7 Sports. Last year, Tom Herman, even with 2 months to work, only finished 25th. So I think that gives you an idea of the challenges of some of these new staffs, and a big reason why Texas has been able to recapture the state to a certain degree.
Take a look there graphically. Face mask brings up a first down, or allows the East to have a first down. That's incredible, going from the 25th class last year to a top 5 group this year.
Well, you know, Paul, sometimes it's not that complicated. If you're the coach of the University of Texas and you keep the top kids in Texas in state, you're going to be top 5. Now, you have to think that some of the turnover and turmoil at Texas A&M has helped a little bit there as well.
Now let's go.
Jalen Williams with the inside give. And there right away to make the play, or to impact the play, Tyler Linderbaum on his way to Iowa, out of Solon, Iowa. His grandfather, late Jerry Linderbaum, was my high school baseball coach.
Wow.
How about that for a nugget I've never been able to say in the 7 seasons of doing this. Tyler, terrific high school career there in Eastern Iowa. And they're happy to have him join the Hawkeye family.
3-sport athlete, wrestles, plays baseball.
Love seeing that.
Now let's go.
Good pocket momentarily for Jalen Williams. Found nowhere to go. And down he goes. Hutchinson, once again, the future Wolverine.
Hutchinson's got a frame where you can tell it shouldn't take too much effort for him to add weight. He's still under 240, but great get off and able to continually work as he hustles towards the quarterback. He's got that burst to finish that you like.
How about that change of direction right there? I mean, that's what college coaches are looking for. Big guys that can change direction. I don't think Jaron Williams is used to a 240-pound D lineman chasing him down.
How about 6'6"? Not easy to change direction for a big guy there inside as well.
He has been the star of this game so far.
Another third down and long. This is 3rd and 18. And Williams in stride to see if they can pick up a first down. And not quite. Darian Kendrick. Good catch and a nice throw from Williams, but not enough for a first.
Boy, he just looks legit, though, doesn't he, Kendrick? He's been one of the practice stars all week. High school quarterback. Kind of reminds you of Deion Kane, who's at Clemson right now. Take a look at it from the ref's perspective. Gives you some idea of the chaos. Kendrick might have used the ref as a pick right there. The ball went right over the ref's head.
He's got such natural hands. He just plucks it out of the air, able to continue running through the route while the ball's going in. He's got what I like to call quiet hands, where there's no nervous energy as he's bringing it in for the catch.
Amon-Ra St. Brown going to kickstart what's going to be an active final part of this game. He's going to make a live declaration in the 4th quarter. Let's see what he can do here. St. Brown, good burst there, and his declaration coming up, but it's not next, though. We will go with the wide receiver. Number 80 for the east side is Rondale Moore out of Trinity High School in Louisville, Kentucky. Excellent speed, great hands. One of those 4 schools about to get his talent.
Rondale Moore, wide receiver at Trinity High School. Don't touch that remote. Kentucky's finest is choosing one of these hats.
Lucas Complete Engine Treatment is a multifunctional cleaner plus lubricant from the labs at Lucas Oil Products.
Next up in the declaration line, that's Rondale Moore out of Trinity High School, Louisville, Kentucky. Marty Snyder, he's all yours.
And I tell you what, Rondale comes in as the #1 player from the state of Kentucky, a wide receiver. We have here a lot of friends and family. We have Mom Quincy, Uncle Gino over there. And this was a competition. Talk about a competition for the fastest wide receiver in high school, a 4.340. So, Rondale, we're down to this. Alabama, Ohio State, Purdue, Florida State. Who gets your services?
Well, they're up.
There you go. He's going to go to Purdue. What a pickup for Jeff Brom. And I want to ask you how big of a factor that was. Jeff Brom's offense known to be very creative, so how much of a factor was that for you?
It was a big factor. Me being small in stature, I feel like I can play in the slot and make plays.
You have a 3.7 GPA, 4.0 this year so far. How big of a factor was academics in this?
Definitely. I plan to get there and major in business with their prestigious business program.
All right, so we're going to see some creativity on the field, I assume?
Yes, sir.
All right, I know Mom Quincy is very happy. What a pickup for Jeff Brom, the Purdue coach. And I tell you what, Barton, that's a big pickup because he's going to bring some more speed to that Purdue offense.
He sure is, yeah, and you wonder how Jeff Brom and Purdue is able to go and get the best player in the state of Kentucky. Jeff Brom's a legend at Louisville Trinity High School, played there. His father actually still coaches there, so really strong ties to that program. But if you look at those traits, we've ranked him at 24/7 Sports a lot higher than most of the industry. But in part, not just because of his speed. He's a small guy, but he's powerful. I was just texting his strength coach, 530-pound squat, 300-pound bench, 390-pound front squat, and he can box jump, guys, 63 inches.
Obviously an explosive athlete, what you described there. First of all, congratulations for Purdue on beating Alabama, Ohio State, and Florida State.
Right.
Again, first time in many years here, we haven't seen that. And he also had great words for Jeff Brom. Said he was modest and honest, still has an iPhone 5. His car has dents in it.
His tape is very impressive. He said one of his favorite receivers is former West Virginia receiver and current LA Ram, who will be on NBC tonight, Tavon Austin. Look at him, 22 miles an hour he's running there. I mean, that's incredible. And then here's what you see. So the angle route out of the backfield. They'll use him in so many different ways. He was very, very impressive. We said, you know, you're picking Purdue over some of these top 5, top 10 programs. He said, I am not a glitz and glamour guy. I don't care about how expensive the weight room is. I want to go to school and play football.
Such a tiny player with such speed. I see him. He's got a lunch pail demeanor. He'll block out in space and do it all.
JT Daniels trying to work the back shoulder fade. And threw that one out of bounds. Never really gave a chance to Brian Hightower.
Had to be a difficult decision for Daniels to leave school a year early. High school a year early. We talked about, he said he's going to miss high school, but he was closer with the guys in the year above anyway. But man, I don't know about you guys. I wouldn't trade my senior year of high school for anything. Anything. But as much as he said that the Darnold decision didn't impact it, he does have an opportunity there at USC. I think he recognizes that.
Once again, need to point out, though, that he will not be a part of spring football. Won't join the team until fall camp. And Daniels finds a way to fit that one in there. Be about 1 yard short, and it's Brian Hightower on his way to Miami. And that's going to do it for quarter number 3. So 4 declarations now in the books. And a couple of left. We started out with J.J. Peterson, linebacker, on his way to Tennessee from the state of Georgia. Follow that up, offensive line. That's Chris Murray, staying close to home, going to UCLA. Said he loves the fit, playing center in Chip Kelly's offense. Calvin Joseph, we saw that earlier in the second half from Baton Rouge. Won't have to go too far. He'll play his college football at LSU. And moments ago, what a pickup for Purdue. Rondale Moore selecting the Boilers over the Crimson Tide, the Buckeyes, and the Seminoles. How about that? Heading into the fourth quarter. 2 more declarations left to go. Brendan Radley-Hiles and also Amon-Ra St. Brown. The fourth quarter is next.
Postseason is why you play the game.
For the Winter Olympics. And for the first time ever, live coverage coast to coast begins February 8th. Followed by the opening ceremony February 9th on NBC. Last night, rising star Brady Tennell's nearly perfect free skate earned her first national title and a spot on the U.S. team for next month's Olympics. And coming up next, 4 o'clock Eastern here on NBC, it's the 2018 U.S. Figure Skating Championships, pairs free. And figure skating continues tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on NBCSN with men's free, where we'll get to see another young star, Nathan Chen. Brady knew right away she nailed that one. Love to see the emotion, realizing what she's done, and maybe even looking ahead to South Korea and thinking about what she might do. The Winter Olympics coming early February to the networks of NBC. Fourth quarter about to start here inside the Alamo Dome. Paul Burmeister, Ross Tucker, Anthony Herron on the field, down the sideline. Marty Snyder and Lewis Johnson, and that man is up next. That's Brendan Radley-Hiles, defensive back from IMG Academy in Florida. His declaration moments away, to be followed by Amon-Ra St. Brown, a wide receiver out of Mater Dei in Southern California.
Hey, Luke, just block 24.
Been fun to have the quarterbacks mic'd up here today. And that's a first down out to the 45-yard line. JT Daniels was a junior to start this year, and is going to finish the year as a senior, make his way to USC later in the summer.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, he's not thought of as a runner, but he is an extremely mobile quarterback. He's in a bit of that Sam Darnold kind of mold where he's willing at a young age to try a lot of different arm angles, fit the football into various trajectories, and he's far more mobile than what the offense he ran at the high school level would indicate.
You can just tell he's got a real good feel for the game. You know, I think that's why he was the #1 ranked prospect in the class of 2019.
Now, he was the Gatorade National Player of the Year when he was a junior that's for everybody, not just for juniors. Penalty marker comes in late. It's Brian Hightower. We'll take a look at the Gatorade Players of the Year. JT Daniels, top of the list. All those players playing right here. Another quarterback, Jacobic, on his way to Notre Dame. Hopefully get another look at him here later today.
#1 tight end in the country, Jeremy Ruckert, on his way to Ohio State out of the state of New York. Lindenhurst High. Trey Lowe, player who was injured. not on the field today, but he'll be an Oregon Duck taking over pretty soon there.
And just in case you're just joining us and didn't hear the JT Daniels story earlier, number 18, the quarterback on his way to USC, you just saw him on the list right there. But started the year as a junior. Early in his junior season, decided he could make a play for being a senior. He'd already started 45 games in high school. Accelerated class load this spring. And he will be
JT's dad, Steve, tells a story about how from the age of 6, his dad, Steve, would be playing video games, and JT would walk around behind him and just start to call out plays during the football video games that his dad would play.
Number 74 of the offense, 10 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
So there's such a wide variety of ways that he's been preparing himself for this moment.
For more JT, here's Barton Simmons.
Guys, as you're talking about JT's just understanding of the position in the game, this week, this is a guy, talk about an underclassman. He was teaching the other quarterbacks and the other offensive players the system, grasp it as quick or quicker than anybody on the field. I really think this is a kid you shouldn't count out to compete for that starting job. He told me at the beginning of the week he would not have declared early if he didn't think he had the opportunity to go in and try to win a starting job.
As I referenced earlier, Barton, Jack Sears, who was one of the top quarterbacks in the country when he came out of high school on the roster at USC, Matt Fink, those players who've been in the Clay Helton, T. Martin system for a couple of years now, but JT Daniels is known as a conscientious note-taker.
Going to have to be a quick learner, and how about that defense? By the east side for more on what JT has coming up. And first of all, that's Nesta Silvera. Great play behind the line of scrimmage. For JT's spring academic schedule, here's Lewis Johnson.
I mean, this is just incredible. You talk about a guy reclassifying, making the jump to a senior, taking a ton of classes 10. Look at this. You've got English 3 and 4. There are 3 religion classes, which get you to 5. And you see the rest of the classes, all 10 of these classes being taken so that he can graduate in the spring. Are you kidding me? Is anyone even taking half of these guys upstairs?
He told us he was going to have a non-existent social life, but he was still going to prom. He's going to have to get a lot of work done academically prior to prom Saturday night. Good toss there down the left side, and almost an excellent catch. Number 8 is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Notice all the quarterbacks. I mean, it makes sense for JT Daniels to target his high school teammate from modern day, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Egyptian sun god. His name Amon-Ra means. But virtually every quarterback who's been in for the West has looked for St. Brown because he's been the alpha on the practice field throughout the week. He doesn't just want to prove that he's the top receiver in this game here. He wants to make sure everyone recognizes he's the best receiver in the entire country.
I still can't get over the 3 religion classes. I mean, not just 1 or 2, 3 religion classes in one semester.
Nice pocket there. Pushing the downfield, back shoulder fade. Good job of coming back to it by Brian Hightower for the first down.
Daniels just gets it, man. You can see that he's been starting since his freshman year for a big-time program. I mean, this is a back shoulder throw with a guy that he doesn't have very much time with, and knew exactly where to put that football.
There's a lot of this in their offense at modern day, so even when receivers hadn't completely broken free, he became so adept at the back shoulder throw, at targeting above the heads of defensive backs right over the shoulder.
And now to his left side, same type of throw. Touchdown West. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we'll see what kind of celebration this is. Loses the helmet.
He's heading towards the military.
Still got the ball.
Let's see what he's got for the soldiers.
The high school teammates connecting there. A spin and a kick. Second time we've seen him do that today.
And they caught it.
And he got a penalty the first time. I guess after a touchdown, if you do it the other end of the field, it's not illegal.
Well, especially if you're putting it to the military. Makes a big difference.
He's definitely got some flair to him, that's for sure.
And you can tell they'd done that before. Daniels just cutting it loose, knowing that St. Brown was going to come back to it. And we are getting close to having a tie ball game. 10-10. One touchdown apiece in the second half. JT Daniels celebrating with fellow quarterback Matt Corral. And take another look. He's happy to have that football. Moments ago, that was the one that got fired. JT Daniels to his high school teammate Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And not the first time they've done this. See him right there, back shoulder, just like clockwork. They've done it so many times at Mater Dei. And they're one of the most bombastically dynamic talents in the country. He's not done at that point.
Hey, 13! Hey, that's Cali ball! That's Cali ball! That's Cali ball!
JT, swag on tilt.
Said that's Cali ball. We'll see if St. Brown decides to play college football somewhere in California. Got to wait for that one. Coming up next, Brendan Radley-Hiles. We've already seen him make 2 great plays in the defensive backfield. One of those 4 schools about to claim his talent in college.
Brendan Radley-Hiles, DB, IMG Academy.
Which school is getting a shutdown corner? Stay tuned, find out live on NBC.
All right, listen up.
Wide receiver, Clemson University. Jeremy Ruckert, tight end, The Ohio State University. Michael Parsons, we are Penn State. Lorenzo Lingard, running back, the U. Phil Jacovic, quarterback, Notre Dame. Bray Walker, hey, I'm from Chapel, and I'm committed to the University of Oklahoma.
They all know where they're going. Brendan Radley-Hiles about to tell us his plans. Here's Lewis Johnson.
Well, we have a huge group down here, Paul, and everyone has been waiting for this moment for a long time. We know, Buki, that you have been anticipating and thinking. Your eyes right now share me the emotion that you have about this moment. So, as a dangerous defensive back that many have asked for your services across this nation, coming from my academy, standing here with your mom, Brenda, your dad, Paul, and your brothers and sisters and the rest of the family, this is the moment. So where are you going to play? We've got UCLA, USC, Oklahoma, and Florida State. It's time.
First off, I want to just thank God for putting me in this position. You know, I want to thank my mom, for being my backbone, always there for me. My brothers for always teaching me the road, and my father for the wisdom, and my sisters for always guiding me the way. For the rest of my family, thank them for being here. But for the next 3 to 4 years, I'll be attending the University of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma Sooners, okay. Excellent. And now I need you to tell me, after all that you've been through and all the back and forth, why was Oklahoma the place for you?
It's just a great field, man. The coaching staff is great people. It's a place for me to do what I got to do, and get to the league.
Can you explain to fans why it was important for you to pick a conference and a school where they throw the ball a lot, which may give you more opportunities to do what you do?
All you got to do is put the ball in the air, and I'm going to go get to do the rest.
And then the number 44, I know you talked to us about honoring your brother Brandon. Share with America why it's been important for you throughout the years and throughout your family to wear the number 44.
My brother passed away in 1995. It was 4 years before I was born, and our birthdays are 4 days apart. So 4 and 4, and I live for you.
Congratulations to you and your family. Headed to Oklahoma. Barton?
Yeah, we had a little bit of drama finally. It looked like Florida State had made a late push to try to land Buki, but in fact, Oklahoma held them off. And what Oklahoma's getting, not only in Buki as a player, this is like that Pied Piper kid in the class. Talking to these kids and check in, whether it's offensive players, defensive players. They want to play against them. They want to play with them. They want to compete alongside them. He's just got a magnetic personality. And for a defensive player, that's the type of guy that defenses can rally around. I think it'll be a great addition to Oklahoma in that locker room and on the field.
Very interesting conversation we had with him, Barton, a couple of days ago. He said when he arrived in San Antonio, he was thinking Florida State. But you could just see his eyes light up, and he talked at a little different pitch when he talked about the possibility of playing in the Big 12 with how often they throw the football.
He's got a teammate here, TJ Pledger, who's already signed with Oklahoma. And that battle at the end between Florida State And the Sooners, a lot of different factors juggling between coaches switching jobs, which scheme may make more sense, who he would get to work closest with physically, but all the family surrounding him right now. We talk about these kids building towards special moments like this. His brother passed before he was born. His uncle, who passed just last week, was actually the very first in their immediate family to wear the number 44, and they've kept between he and his brothers that lineage going.
It's a really interesting kid to talk to. You know, we talked to him about USC and UCLA, and he said he did not want to be back in Los Angeles. He said, I made it out, and I want to stay out so I can stay focused on trying to make it to the NFL.
We just heard Brendan talk about his brother, Brandon, who died 4 years before he was born. There's a look at him. Birthday 4 days apart, so the 44 extra special to that family. Brendan counting on wearing it at Oklahoma as well. And he made sure all the schools he talked to asked if he could wear 44, and they all a little different inside each campus, but they all found a way to say yes, that if he chose to go there, that he could end up with 44.
We saw him sharing that moment with his mother. She was the one who gave him the nickname Buki before he was even born, as he was still growing inside her stomach.
Rondale Moore. Pardon me, that's James Cook from Miami on his way to Georgia, returning that kick.
Well, the long and winding road of Brendan Radley-Howes on the field took him to 3 different high schools. He was at Bishop Gorman, won multiple national championships, then went to Calabasas back in that LA area. But this is why at IMG last season, he solidified himself as one of the best in the country. The speed is good. It's good enough to play at a high level, but the instincts, the ball skills are where he separates himself. Over 23 yards away from the ball, drives downhill, makes the tackle out in the open space, and we have seen that skill set on display today from the man they call Buki.
He'll hit you too. I mean, he's not afraid to light you up either. One of the things I loved about him.
And I even asked him, you know, you've shown such great ball skills. You played receiver at other high schools. Do you want to maybe play receiver in college? He said, you know what, I would do anything the coaches ask me. I'll do whatever it takes for my team to win, but I want to be a defensive back. I want to make my game, hopefully my career at some point, on the defensive side of the football, shutting down wide receivers.
Meanwhile, we've got a tie game here.
33. Down to go.
See if the East squad can move it again. We know right there the front seven for the West, all over that inside give. Amongst the masses there, Michael Thompson, defensive lineman out of St. Louis, uncommitted.
He is a big boy, and he has had a major impact today. Big number 92 right there. He's been impressive. He and Hutchinson have dominated the game up front for the West D-line.
One of the uncommitted players here in so many schools still after Michael Thompson. He's a player who he's still coming into his own physically, I think. He's getting stronger, endurance improving, but he is just a monster at the point of attack.
33. Down to go.
Quarterback is Phil Dracovic on his way to Notre Dame. He forces that one and has it intercepted. Caden Stearns out of Texas on his way to Austin. Picking up return yardage in San Antonio along the way.
Stearns has had a day as well. Dracovic just puts too much air under the football, and Stearns able to come over. He had Cook open. I think Drakovic's not used to safeties that have that kind of range that Stearns has. He has been excellent today, and one of a handful of defensive backs that's going to be a future Longhorn.
Going to be an early enrollee at Texas. Dracovic trying to get in on the tackle. Pushed out of bounds. Caden Stearns, originally an LSU commit. The Longhorns happy to have him.
The great emperor penguin migration, trekking 100 miles inland to their breeding grounds. Except for these two fellas.
This time next year.
The U.S. Army All-American Bowl is brought to you by the U.S. Army. Find out more at GoArmy.com. And by Visit San Antonio. Plan your trip at VisitSanAntonio.com. to look at what happened yesterday at the Alamo Dome, the National Combine of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, featuring 600 of the nation's top underclassmen, focusing on measuring speed, strength, agility, and football skills. We enjoyed watching that a little bit yesterday. For more on what's coming in the class of 2019, we send it down to Barton Simmons.
Yeah, guys, once again, it's going to be an unbelievable Army All-American game next year. You look at Kayvon Thibodeau right there at the #1 spot. He's the #1 player in the country right now, but there's a lot of competition for that spot, and they're all right there on that list as well. A bunch of guys that could make a case that they are the best player in this class. It's going to be a fun year next year as well.
And I can tell you, Kayvon Thibodeau is no small young man. And these were all juniors. Can you believe the size of these kids? Kayvon, 6'5", 235. For you guys as juniors, how much work goes into that season to kind of put yourself on the national radar?
I mean, this is it. You know, our senior year is more being safe and, you know, staying healthy. So this one, it meant it all. You know, we come out here and we work, we grind, and we just try to get better and be the best. You know?
Your list of colleges is long. So you got on this Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, USC, UCLA, and Michigan. When do you start taking those schools seriously and go visit?
I mean, right now I'm still cracking them down. I'm still looking. I'm still, you know, watching film, seeing all these teams to see where I fit the best. But I'm trying to, you know, me and my family are sitting and we, you know, looking it over. And probably, hopefully, about April, I'll be taking my trips and my visits, but I'm still, you know, in the works right now.
Said he wants to declare a college this summer so he can focus on school. Can you see, Paul, why he got 20 sacks this year alone? Very impressive size from these juniors. Can't believe how young these guys are either.
And, Marty, I can't believe what you just pointed out, how big they are. That's a physically impressive high school junior.
And I get to work some of the camps at FBU, who works under All-American Games, Football University. They do these youth camps. Kids are getting bigger every year.
Matt Corral in the quarterback on his way to LSU, looking to the end zone. Draws the penalty as he looked for Jalen Waddle. Waddle uncommitted, going to choose between Alabama and Texas A&M.
Waddle working against Josh Jobe, another cornerback going to Alabama, #6. Good size again. Jobe didn't really get his head around for the football and was kind of arm-barming Waddle.
And Jobe, another one of these players who may have the ability to play either corner or safety at the collegiate level. We know Nick Saban still coaches the defensive backs there in Tuscaloosa. He'll work closely with him.
Huddle up, huddle up, huddle up, huddle up.
It's the voice of Matt Corral.
No shortage of alpha in that voice either. He doesn't mind taking charge.
Hey, max protection, X&Z fade. Max protection, X&Z fade.
Initially, USC commit, then a Florida commit, ends up at Ole Miss.
Timeout on the offense. Their first and last timeout.
And Corral, one of the players who will enroll early. He'll head to Ole Miss. He's planning on competing right away. Hoping he can go there and have a shot at winning that quarterback position.
And there's an opening there without Shea Patterson.
No doubt about it. Patterson transferring to the University of Michigan, where I think he's going to really boost that Michigan offense. It struggled at times.
Take a listen to Matt Corral talking to his teammates throughout the day.
There was no timeout, so I said.
Honestly, we're not used to the NFL rules where it's in the end zone.
I just called.
We weren't used to the NFL rules where it was in the end zone.
She got. I had less time, so I just saw it.
Still getting used to some of today's rules and how things work with the NFL as well. But so everyone here today figuring it out as they go. And Matt Corral, as we said, he's going to enroll early at Ole Miss, hoping to figure things out quickly there.
The tailback to his right, a late add to this game, Brendan Brady. Here in the San Antonio area, rolls out to his right, wide open, touchdown West. Jalen Waddle. A well-designed play, and here comes another sprint with the ball to the U.S. Army members.
Towels waving in the stands from our servicemen and women.
It's a nice throw.
It's not bad at all. And I don't think there's been one dropped yet.
That's awesome.
But this is the skill set. The Chad Kelly, Shea Patterson, the last couple of starting quarterbacks who've been there for Ole Miss, they've been able to do this. A lot of mobility being shown to throw on the run.
Corral to Waddle makes it a 6-point West lead, and it's now 7 points. A couple of unanswered touchdowns from the West side.
As I mentioned a little while ago, you kind of got the feel that maybe the offenses would tick up in the second half with the way the defenses were able to penetrate in the backfield so much.
I mentioned Jalen Waddle, who just caught this touchdown pass wide open here. Good job by Matt Corral laying it out there to him. Going to pick between Alabama and Texas A&M, and called the Jimbo Fisher switch from Florida State to Texas A&M. Potential game changer. Thinking real hard about the Aggies. It's only 100 miles from his hometown in Bel Air, Texas. 7-point West lead. Waddle, third time we've seen this in the second half, takes the touchdown to the U.S. Army. Might be a bit better throw than it was a catch. Back inside the Alamo Dome after this.
Top of the hour, live coverage of the pairs free skate at the United States Figure Skating Championships in San Jose. At stake, the one berth on the U.S. team headed to Korea for the Olympic Games, which is just about a month away. Back now to San Antonio.
Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome. 7:32 left. Jalen Waddle touchdown. Extra point makes it a 7-point West lead. One more declaration to go. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mater Dei High School in Southern California. About to find out where he's going to play college football. We've seen the talent already. Impressive long catch. Also had a touchdown from his high school teammate JT Daniels, who will play at USC. See if St. Brown's going to join him. Rondale Moore. He told us earlier he was going to play at Purdue. Takes the kickoff out across the 30-yard line. Be nice to see Trevor Lawrence put something together here to finish his day, starting out with a couple of interceptions. The #1 rated player in this game. Going to go to Clemson tomorrow. Be on campus on Monday. Tailback is Jalen Gill.
Oh, take some dread. Take some dread. Yeah. 33. There's to go.
And Lawrence pushed out to his right out of the backfield. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Unable to hang on is Jalen Gill.
Well, that's one of the things that Lawrence does that's really impressive. I mean, even though he's 6'6", you can see the pocket mobility, just the feel for things he has. I mean, he moves around in the pocket more like a guy that's 6'1", 6'2". You know, a lot of times the 6'6", 6'7" guys just don't have that kind of feel for the pocket.
I love his throwing motion. It's a very
33.
short, sharp, kind of Andy Roddick boogie whip kind of motion that happens very quickly.
Now out to his left. Back across his body. What a throw by Lawrence. Most impressive of the game. It's Jordan Adams with the catch. Penalty marker down, but headline of that play. Rolling out to his left and back to his right goes Trevor Lawrence.
Holding before the pass from the defense, number 44. The penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
That was Jordan Adams on the football field. Check him out on the hardwood. This is a 10-foot hoop.
Someone dared to make the mistake of attempting the block.
Jeez. That's amazing.
I won't even guess what his vertical is, especially in that moment after that highlight.
He's also an All-American baseball player.
And he also has nowhere to go. Punts out of the 47. For more on Adams, here's Marty.
Hey, Paul, that video we watched has over 500,000 views on the internet, as you would imagine. But, Ross, you mentioned it. He will play 2 sports when he gets on the campus at Chapel Hill. Baseball will be the other sport. In fact, he was recruited by every school for both baseball and football. In fact, he's so good at baseball. You can see his numbers from this year, batting .494. He batted in the winning run at Wrigley Field in this version of the baseball game, the All-American game for the baseball team. So there's a possibility, though, he might be drafted by the major league teams, and that might put a little wrinkle in things. But Larry Fedora said it's a chance I'm willing to take, Paul.
Batting .494 in baseball. This is Cook out of the backfield. Or that dunk we just saw. I don't know what's more impressive.
I mean, in one moment, it's that dunk. No doubt in my mind.
Love to see a 2-sport athlete in college, though, moving on to try and play football and also baseball. Chapel Hill.
Well, everywhere I speak and I talk to parents and they're trying to figure out what to do with their kids, I try to urge people to continue to play multiple sports. It's just, I feel like too many people are moving away from their kids playing multiple sports. They just want them focusing on one thing.
Your son is not even a year yet, correct?
Not yet, but believe me, he's going to play more than one sport.
Amazing what we see in that arena, so to speak, with the specialization and the encouragement you get and don't get. Quite an education.
I'm not sure it's the parents as much as some of the coaches of some of the club teams, 7-on-7, those type of things.
Don't get me started, Ross. It's better if I just say that was Anthony Cook on his way to Texas. One of 3 Texas DBs or future Longhorn DBs playing in this game. Seeing the impressive interception from Caden Stearns that happened earlier in the second half. Coming back underneath, nifty catch at the last moment by Mark Pope.
We're here. Hey, Mark. Good catch, but you got the speed out.
Did you hear that? Good catch, but you got the speed out. Good catch, but that was not the right route.
Nice that he came with the compliment first before the correction.
This would be really valuable for college coaches just to hear how these guys are in the huddle and with their teammates.
Got it. 33. Now let's go.
There we go. Little pitch and catch for Lawrence. Once again, that's Adams. And that's enough for a first down. East team on the move now inside of 5 minutes, trailing by 7.
Well, you can see him into a rhythm now. The offense he ran at Cartersville High down in Cartersville, Georgia. Exclusive shotgun, plenty of tempo. And his pass protection, his offensive line was astounding. Threw to a lot of open receivers. He's been under duress more today than maybe he has at any point in his career. But we see Trevor Lawrence now responding well to it.
I think the West D-line's tired.
Now let's go.
I would be if I was him.
No pressure from that D-line. Now inside the 20. Brought down right at the 20-yard line. Penalty marker comes in late on the tackle of Adams, who stayed down. Let's go to the sidelines. Lewis Johnson.
All right, we had a pretty nifty touchdown on the west side a few moments ago. It was Matt Corral with this nice throw to Jalen Waddle. Okay, take us inside the huddle and tell me about the call. Here it is right here.
So pretty much it's a Clemson. It's a rollout. It's a roll right. And we got the outside on a bench route. And then Waddle coming in with his speed on the flat. And then the slot receiver has a pivot route, which is going in and coming out. And I knew I was going to have that as soon as I could have ran it as well. Right. But he was wide open, so I had to feed my man.
Jalen, what's it feel like to catch a touchdown like that here?
It feels great. Even better throwing it to the troops.
Okay, great job on both of those things, guys.
The bench route, nice way of saying there might be an accidental pick on this route. That opens up my receiver in the corner of the end zone.
One of those sorry, not sorry routes.
Boys, the one thing you definitely don't want to see is anybody getting hurt. Jordan Adams has been prolific here in the second half.
Future baseball and football player, North Carolina Chapel Hill, is up. Certainly hope he's all right.
Base mask, number 15 of the defense. At the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Penalty against Naote Ote, the future USC Trojan, who's been all over the field this afternoon.
He showed the explosive athletic ability of Jordan Adams. Got long strides too. He's 6'2", but he eats up so much turf on defensive backs when he comes off the line. He always transitions really quickly from the catch to the run. Impressive skill set.
Trevor Lawrence has put together a nice drive here. Had the athletic throw, rolling to his left, back across his right. Then some 5 to 10 yard completions underneath. We'll see what he can do here. In trouble to his left. Not in trouble for long. Touchdown East. Out of the backfield, James Cook, his second touchdown of this half.
Out of those 40-plus touchdowns he threw at Cartersville, I'd say about half of them look just like that. Him rolling outside the pocket, throwing on the move, and a spot throw to a receiver in the end zone.
He is really impressive, and so is Jackson Carman lifting up Cook like that, the big offensive lineman. But Lawrence is almost more dangerous when he gets on the edge than he is in the pocket. It looks like they're going to go for two.
Clemson ran. So you're on the right.
Certainly going for two here, down one inside of 3 minutes. Why not an all-star game?
Especially since there's no overtime.
Explaining the play there to the man who just scored the touchdown, James Cook. There we go. 2-point conversion that would put the east side up by one.
Let's go. I called it. Can you not hear me? Can you hear me? I got you.
Ball start. On the offense.
I got you.
5 yards. Extra time from the 8.
So Trevor Lawrence keeping his composure. Early offensive line. They started early on him there.
Did you hear me? Okay. We're good. Let's go.
I like this decision. This is similar. There was actually Trevor Lawrence and JT Daniels on the field with me the other night. They were both trying to hit the bar. They didn't want to end in a tie there either.
Still seems to me like Trevor Lawrence's legs are going to be a factor here.
Tailback to his right is Ricky Person. 7 yards from the 2 points. And they give it back to Kendrick, who fires to the end zone. Nobody there. It was exciting for a moment.
Well, we've seen that play a bunch lately, and it looked like the West was ready for it.
Trevor Lawrence led the East team into the end zone, but failed to get him that 2 points. Declaration up next, the final one. Amon-Ra St. Brown will tell you where he's going to go.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, Mater Dei High School. Today's the day I make my college declaration. One of these schools is getting the best player California has to offer. Maybe I'll be choosing your school. Which hat am I going to choose? Find out next, live on NBC.
Kids walking.
Amon-Ra St. Brown's time is about to happen. All smiles right now in moments. We'll find out where he's going to play college football. Has a touchdown already today from his high school teammate. Hauled one in from JT Daniels. Solid numbers here. Just under 100 yards in that score. East team's going to kick to the west, and right after that, go right down the sideline and see what St. Brown has in mind for the next 4 years.
Some very anxious college coaches preparing for this moment right now.
And the hands teams out there right now, the West rightfully expecting an onside kick here.
As we pointed out top of the broadcast, onside kick not allowed in the first, but it's okay in the second half. And trailing by 1 point, you got to think that's what the East team is going to pull off. There we go. Well, he had a shot at it. The West team will take over on the 47. Declaration time. Here's Lewis Johnson.
All right, and it is the final one for today. Lots of anticipation, not just here in San Antonio, but across the country, wondering where Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be playing his college football. 1 touchdown already, and now somebody's waiting to get a lot more from you over the next 3-4 years. So I know you want to address your family. Go right ahead with that.
Well, first off, I want to thank my dad, because without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. He's pushed me from point A to point Z. Another thing, if you want to gain some weight, I've been on the cane protein, so I suggest some cane protein if you need some.
All right, let's talk to your mom.
I also want to thank my mom. Mama, danke für alles, was du für mich gemacht hast. Ich liebe dich so sehr. I also lived in France for a bit, so I want to say something to my friends. Je tiens à remercier tous mes amis et professeurs en France qui m'ont aidé au long de ce parcours, et sans qui tout ça ne serait pas possible. Lastly, I would like to thank all the coaches that helped me get here.
Super. So German, French, and now it's time to make the declaration. So in front of us we have Notre Dame, we have USC, and we have Stanford. Amon-Ra, where will you be playing your college football?
I'll be attending.
Yeah. USC. All right. Alors. Congratulations, Amon-Ra, headed to USC. Paul, back to you.
A couple of days ago, his older brother Equanimous declared for the NFL draft, leaving Notre Dame. Declaration for Amon-Ra St. Brown, going to stay close to home and play at USC.
Huge get. A lot of depth and talent at the wide receiver position for the Trojans. Amon-Ra St. Brown will join his modern-day teammate, JT Daniels, become a man of Troy.
One of the men who declared right there, Brendan Radley-Hiles, going to play at Oklahoma. A couple of impressive plays in the defensive backfield. And this one in the books, 17-16. The West Side, JT Daniels, big part of that touchdown pass to the one we just saw declare for USC. High school teammates will also be college teammates.
And Caden
MVP
Stearns.
trophy to Caden Stearns, future Texas Longhorn, couple of interceptions. It's the Pete Dawkins MVP trophy. One of three defensive backs playing here today on their way to Texas. Good to see Trevor Lawrence come back on his way to Clemson with an impressive touchdown drive at the end of the game. Guys, final thoughts?
Impressive group, the best we've ever seen here on the field in San Antonio.
Very impressive in the meeting rooms as well. A lot of these kids really have their stuff together. You love to see that. The future of college football is bright.
That man right there, Trevor Lawrence, will show up in Clemson tomorrow. Thanks for watching the 2018 U.S. Army All-American Bowl. For our entire crew, I'm Paul Burmeister saying so long from San Antonio. Stay tuned right here on NBC tonight, 7:30 Eastern from Los Angeles. The Falcons will take on the Rams in an NFC wildcard playoff game. Coming up next, America's best figure skaters continue their pursuit of Olympic dreams and a national title at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Thanks for watching and goodbye from San Antonio.
This man